and realistic than conditional love. Today, we're talking about something a lot of people romanticize, but few truly understand. Unconditional love. Is it real? Is it healthy? And is it actually more effective than conditional love? The conversation matters, especially on Valentine's Day, because love isn't just flowers and hearts. Love is choices, boundaries, and truth. Unconditional love means loving without trying to control, change, or manipulate someone. It's love that says, I see you as you are, but that doesn't mean I accept harmful behavior. Here's the truth people don't like to hear. Unconditional love is realistic in intention, but relationship is still require conditions to function.
Did you go mute?
Wow, that was very nice. Somebody, I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb, and somebody just interrupted the whole live. Let me put it. Someone was FaceTiming me. This is what I'm telling you. This is okay. Anyways, what was the last thing you heard? Let me read that again. Unconditional love is realistic in intentions, but relationships still require conditions to function. You can love someone unconditionally in your heart and still choose not to stay in a relationship that is hurting you. Many people stay in toxic relationships because they believe leaving means they didn't love enough. But real love doesn't require you to lose yourself. Love that costs you your peace, your dignity, or your mental health is not holy love, it's survival. Healthy love looks like compassion without boundaries, forgiveness without enabling, commitment without control. You can love deeply and still walk away. That doesn't make your love conditional, it makes it mature. I want to bring in Rack here because this topic hits differently from a man's perspective. Rack, in your experience, do you think unconditional love is misunderstood? And how do you see the balance between love and boundaries?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Um, I think first and foremost,
First of all, who are you? What's your name?
I'm a YouTuber. I've been doing YouTube videos for probably about maybe 3 years, off and on, not really consistent. Because like what you're doing this almost every day, and you contemplate on your content, and then you deliver. I'm a full time program manager for a social service agency. But before that, I was really into studying, reading, a lot of self check, a lot of self realization, because where I'm at in life right now, it really is for me about trying to figure out where I've been, how that has actually shown up in my life, evaluating what I like about it, the present, and what I don't like about it, and making the adjustments um, without judging myself, just making the adjustments. I spent several years as a domestic violence officer, as a parole and probation officer. And then prior to all that, I've been in mental health and 501c3 private social service industry for years, working with young people, young adults, and so forth.
Okay, so what's
Um,
your YouTube name? So people can find you, Rack.
I'm at RaqTalks LLC. I'm not as, like I say, consistent as a YouTuber like you, but I focus on content based on study, realizations, and just putting the data out there for folks to look at, consider. If it apply, roll with it. But if it don't apply, let it fly. but it really is about self fulfillment, not judging yourself, and really put on your thinking cap and raise your emotional, mental, and spiritual intelligence to the level that you can handle. And if you know you have an attraction for self improvement and spiritual sobriety, take that chance and get on that and do the work. When we have the intelligence, the conscious appetite to do the work. Um, but yeah, you have a loaded question there. The first thing I thought about is what is love? And that for me, I don't think that's a one fits all philosophy. It's not a one fit all belief. Everybody at the end of the day knows for certain that they know what love means to them. And then for me, I don't want to give it away just yet because you have your topic, unconditional love versus conditional love. But I'm gonna pause right there and just ask you, what do you think so far? If I'm saying, hey, I have my take on it, but when you started, you was like, yo, unconditional love is not what people think.
It's
So
not.
that put me at a stance because I'm hoping that your audience, if they could also chime in, which I want them to, is put a one in the chat if you prefer unconditional love or if you prefer conditional love in your interactions with whomever you with.
So Rack is asking you guys, if you're watching, if you believe in unconditional love, put a one in the chat. And if you believe in unconditional love, put a two in the chat. What do you guys think? Um, I don't even know. I don't even know because I already told you. God says He loves us unconditionally, but then unconditional, it's not really what people think. Unconditional to me, it's not. I love you no matter what. If you abuse me, I still love you. If you come home drunk and do whatever it is, I still love you. If you are a narcissist, I still love you. If
Mm.
you, whatever it is you do, unconditional love does not mean for you to love no matter the abuse or the situation. That's not what it means. I know a lot of people heavily believe, oh, I love unconditional. But I don't really think that they know what they're saying. I think, since the word unconditional is like, I love you forever and I love you no matter what. But then when it comes to abuse or other things that are happening in the relationship, it doesn't mean you don't love the person, but are you willing to stay under those conditions and those situations? I think that's where the topic gets a little controversial.
Yeah, I agree. In my perspective, in my experience, it's either one way or the other. This is just my little philosophy. If you love unconditionally, that's all that matters. If you love conditionally, that means that you and the person you're dealing with or your family, everybody has to have sort of a code of ethics. How you treat each other. Are you loyal to um, the mutual relationship you have with everybody? Do we incorporate gossip as a love language? Do we support this person and not that person? Um, and if that's the case, we have to sit back and reevaluate what are our conditions because I think that if you love unconditionally, it's going to cause you a lot of chaos because you do a whole lot of we do a whole lot of suppressing Because if you got your do's and don't do's, your likes and dislikes,
Hmm.
and you enter a mutual connection with somebody, right then and there, you already have the clash of the titans. That means that you're gonna have someone that's different than you in temperament, mentality, their level of emotional intelligence, their depth of perceiving the reality around them, the world around them. They might have their own motivation. What are their motivations and the list thereof as opposed to yours? And then, how y'all gonna get along? How will you both get along? Do y'all set a standard for the course of the relationship? Are y'all building on something? And what do y'all have the same perception in terms of the outcome? Now, let me just pause for a second. That list, in my opinion, most relationships don't get there to that level because everybody's operating in the feelings, their emotions. Because I think from a male perspective, we have certain things that we expect from the lady we're dealing with. And a lot of those expectations, in my opinion, they shouldn't be asked of her. She should already know, and um, in order to respect the relationship, respect the integrity of the relationship. Now, how do
Wait,
I
wait,
make the
wait.
decision?
So
Yeah,
Raq, wait. Let's in the chat they're saying to breathe. And let me see. Let's take some time to look at what they're saying. They're saying to breathe. God loves us unconditionally if and we constantly fail him, says Water Girl. Gossip is women sharing information, says patriarchy. A whole lecture. She should read your mind, sir. What? Listen, okay, so let's take it step by step.
oh, F patriarchy, look at you.
So what you're saying is, because from what I got is, you still haven't said which one you pick. Because I'm still waiting for you to say if you think unconditional love or conditional love is what you prefer. But from what I'm getting from you is conditional love. It's like you have a whole list of things. Like, this is what I want you to do and say and feel and whatever, and you should do this. And if you don't do this, then we can't be together. Is that what I'm getting? Is there like a list of rules for the relationship kind of thing?
You're halfway there, so you're not right and you're not wrong. So, with all that being said, somebody said, well, Water Girl said God loves us unconditionally,
Hmm.
and we consistently fail Him. She probably meant to say, and we consistently fail Him. That's a whole different conversation because once we start putting the creative force in it, if there was only one creative philosophy for the whole human species, then I would run with that. But it's going to be different for everybody. So, with that being said, my understanding is nothing works without conditions. If we look in the Bible, which I don't too much read it anymore, but I did my study. Every chapter has a specific conditions, and that if we don't follow them conditions, then all the consequences are laid out for you. That to me is suggested as conditions. So it sounds good that God loves us unconditionally, no matter how much we fail. To me, it's as above, so below. The above expresses itself in the physical world. So in the physical reality, we do have consequences for what we do. So yeah, I definitely appreciate the comment, but I'm definitely somebody who believes in conditional relationships. I don't even want to use the word love, but for the
Ah,
sake of the conversation, the content, yeah, I believe in unconditional love. If there's such a thing as the word love,
unconditional love or conditional love?
unconditional, well, no, conditional love.
Conditional love, but you still didn't say, because I'm still a little lost. So conditional love for you. Okay, so let's say let's say, right? I'm your new girlfriend. What is conditional love? Like, are you gonna invite me on a date and be like, here, sign this? Like, this is how in my mind, because I'm very visual, this is how I see it. You're gonna invite me to a nice dinner and you're gonna be like, Carolina, here, a 300-page condition. If you don't do these things or you don't follow these things, then we can't really be together. I'm trying to understand, like, what is, because, a lot of people, I see it as, when you say conditional love, I see a big thing of paper where I sign, and there's a whole bunch of rack laws for love that I'm going to read and agree to so that I can understand what you're expecting from me, right? Is that what it is? Like, what is it? Because you're saying conditional love. I understand, but what is it
I think
exactly?
everybody knows what conditional love is. I think
No,
some
no, no,
people
no.
are
We all have our different. Like I told you, we all different, right?
correct.
Because right now you're looking at me like, what? She just saw a whole book. In my mind, when you said that, I just saw a whole big thing, and like sign here.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I get it. Here's the deal. Everybody goes through their developmental phases in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know yourself, you don't know your limits, you don't know your boundaries, you don't know what your weaknesses are, how do you say you believe in unconditional love? Because the unconditionality of love, so to say, starts with you. You get up every day, you got to go to work. Does that show you love yourself? You know what you should be doing for yourself to survive. Do you follow through on that or do you not follow through? So if you follow through on these things in terms of taking care of yourself, having a place to stay, having some food on your table, gas for your vehicle, or whatever else you need, those things are based on conditions. If you believe in God as opposed to, hey, I'm not going to do nothing, I'm going to leave it up to the Father, and let Him handle it. Good luck. So, in my opinion, if I know what I'm bringing to the table in love, I'll keep using the word for the sake of the video.
I feel
Um,
like you still running around the thing. It's Valentine's
around
Day.
what?
It's Valentine's Day. I have the table ready right here already. Right? It's Valentine's. You just met me, and we're going out on a date. I'm your new girlfriend. How does conditional love, like, what is it? Are you gonna
Yeah, it don't
invite me?
start there
Are
though.
you gonna
It don't
invite me
start at
to
a date.
dinner and tell me these are the conditions? Is this gonna be something slowly that you're gonna tell me, or do you expect me to know what those conditions are, or do you think as you go in the relationship you start saying, I don't agree with that behavior, I don't agree with this? Like, what does it look like? Do you tell the person when you meet them? Do you tell
No,
them as they go, like, oh, you went out to the club, oh, I don't accept that? Like, how does
you
it?
ought to know. You ought to know when you go out on a date with somebody whether or not they can even get to that. When you can even get to that level of a conversation, because that's a turnoff. If you lay down your expectations of what it is you think will work for you in a relationship with that person on the first date, second date, third date, fourth date, that's probably a mistake.
I
It's a
don't know.
mistake.
That's what I see. I see you handing me a thing like, here, this is what you're gonna do. That's what I'm asking you, because, like you're saying, so for you, if a woman did that to you, it would be a turn off. But this is what I'm thinking in my head when you say conditional love. But I want to understand, what does it look like in a relationship with you? You believe in conditional love. What does it look like? Is it as I go, based on the things that I do, you're gonna be like, I accept this behavior, I don't? Or are you gonna actually sit down with me and say, hey, let's have this conversation?
No, I get it. Because
You
I'm
get it,
trying
but
to
you're not
follow this
answering.
narrative.
You're like, yeah.
I'm listen. You you got to think about this. In reality, men think different than women.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask questions that ask me to question my emotional state or to say, hey, how do you feel about this? Um, I'm going to apply not a logic because everything is about investment. right? So if you ask me, hey, how does conditional relationships work with me? I'll use that word. That's a better word for me. Conditional relationships work for me is accepting that person for who they are from the gate. My responsibility, my gift is to just observe her, pay attention to what it is that she likes, what she doesn't like, to be able to get to know her from a space that's safe for her, not to forge my thoughts, not to go deep in um, intimate ideas about her in terms of her life, her past, because a lot of that stuff is going to affect how I engage with her and how she engages with me. So if you want a quick answer as to what does unconditional relationships look like for me, it depends on the person. So I already know she has her life. I
Okay.
already know she has her preferences. I already know that she already has her motion in place. If
Mhm.
I'm interested in her for dating purposes, we're not getting to that. I already set the tone for myself. If I like the conversation, I like how she speaks, I like her thinking process, and I have to evaluate is she more focused on an emotional reality or can she combine the two with feeling as well as thinking in her logic mind? People go through their stages of development. There's no way in initial relationships or hangouts do I say, hey, here is what I expect. Good thing that works for me is if she has her expectation list, that's something that I'm gonna learn from. I'm going to learn whether or not what level of relationship she and I are gonna have. There is no such thing in my world of I'm gonna meet her, she's the one. Or I'm gonna meet her, we're gonna start talking about what this is gonna be. Mm-mm,
So how
no,
do
I
I
want to
how
be
do
interested in spending time with her and just chilling or whatever and just respecting each other's energy and enjoying that. But if you're talking about a serious relationship, that's a whole nother conversation.
rock, but you still not okay. But you're saying that your love, right, in a relationship for you is better if it's conditional.
Yep.
But conditions to me is like what you're willing to accept or not, or a set of things that you're willing to accept, right? But how does the other person know? How do you let the girl know? This is where I'm trying to get, and you're just beating around it. How are you gonna let me know? You're saying you're not sitting, you're not telling her what it is, you're not giving her like a pamphlet. How am I supposed to know? Am I supposed to guess what you're expecting? Because maybe your level of understanding and the way you see things and what you expect might be totally different from what the person is thinking and understands. Because, like I'm telling you, you're saying conditional, right? In my mind's eye, I see a picture of a man just handing a whole booklet, like, here's sign. You're saying that's not really what it is. So that just tells you that my way of thinking is totally different. It could be a water that you give me. And trust me, the way you see the water is not the same way I see it. And I'm sure everybody is different. I'm a little weird, but I'm just saying everybody's different. So when you say conditions, anyone I'm in a relationship with, well, for me, when you say condition, it's like that conversation should be had. What you believe in, what you expect, because sometimes we know a person and that person only shows us one side of how they are. Like here in this channel, you see all my faces because I don't really care. It's not a, oh, I'm gonna make this channel and it's gonna be strictly this. I really don't care. I was like, I'm here on camera. Let's roll with this. You're seeing how I am in all my faces, but a woman that you meet might have certain parts of her that she doesn't want to show you yet. And you might not know, and you might not like it. So, how are you to say that she meets all those conditions, because maybe what you're seeing it's not really like, oh my gosh, she's just perfect because she believes in God and she's this and she's that. But maybe there's a side of her you don't see, and then when that side shows up, years later. You never know. Um, like, what do you do if you don't have that conversation of what your conditions are, and you know what I mean? Because
No,
you're
listen,
still not saying how are we gonna understand each other?
I think like this, and this is real talk. Whenever I go out and I spend time with someone, we're having a very fluid, non binding conversation about life,
Mhm.
right? So the door is revolving either way, no judgment, just listening to observe and really build an understanding. It's not a square, in terms of who how you want someone to be, because every relationship should start out building a friendship. Your friendships are unconditional.
Mhm.
All of our friendships that we claim to have friendships should be based on uncondition. That means I don't have an expectation for her. She doesn't have an expectation for me. I respect her. She respects me. And, that's how that goes. A relationship, on the other hand, in my opinion, that's a whole nother ball game, because when y'all merge energy, when y'all have y'all sexual relationship, you're exchanging energy. And then at that point, the relationship changes somewhat, because now y'all have this other bond, and it's not about me. I think that on this Valentine's Day, we got to look at a couple of factors here. Valentine's Day is specifically designed in everybody's mind to be about the woman. That's what traditionally it's showing, right?
Showing.
No,
Is that your
anytime
experience, or is that what
in
it's?
Valentine's Day, it's pink, it's the chocolates, it's the red roses. Ain't no denim in that package. There is no 24-inch chrome rims and the Chevy, the Impalas. Everything that represents masculinity is not in that. And I'm not playing tit for tat.
Depends. It depends. There's some women out there who are very thoughtful. You see, in my way of seeing things, it's like the man gives the gift, but then when I think Valentine's, I literally see like the whole dinner and the rose petals and the whole decoration or whatever it is, which is not so important, I think, for the man, but it is for the woman. But that's something that the woman does. The woman is the one that does the decorations and the rose petals and all these beautiful things for the man, and also give them a gift. Um, so you can't say all women that is all about women, because some women are very thoughtful, especially on Valentine's Day. Some men are not, and sometimes it's just the woman giving a nice gift and the man doing the whole, in a restaurant, and I don't know, rented a whole island for her kind of thing. So we have both. So, it's not fair for you to say it's all about the woman, because I know both sides. Some women are very extreme when it comes to Valentine's, birthdays, and stuff like that. But there's some men also that are a little extreme, and they have the rims and the cars. There's women that give cars too. So, back is
Now you see how I listen very, very supportively.
maybe you didn't
And
experience
and this
that,
is
but I'm
this
just
is not
saying.
about this is not about tip or tap or making this content about friction. This is about coming to a mutual understanding about, first and foremost, the philosophy of Valentine's Day, and
Uh-huh.
then the philosophy of, do you want to be in a conditional relationship versus an unconditional relationship? Somebody said in your comments, hey, God loves us unconditionally. And I love it. If you like it, I love it, right? But the deeper you move into whatever level of knowledge you're trying to seek, you know, a lot of people are gonna be in for a rude awakening. But I am a firm believer that in order to have a unconditional relationship, and we're assuming we're talking about male and female relationships, is to get to know that person on a friendship level because people change. Some people are not very cognitively strong. They're not very emotionally strong. Because and then also let's talk about it. People,
Let's
some
talk
people,
about it.
I'm not even gonna say some people. A lot of people enter relationships out of convenience. They don't enter relationships to do work. When you get into a relationship, you're gonna have to do mirror work. Your partner's gonna start seeing inside of you that you don't want nobody to know about. That cannot survive unless you have an established unconditional friendship. That romance stuff that comes in, it's all about taking you from a sense of stability to, okay, now I got a vibe with this other person. How many of you really know what it actually is happening when you merge with the opposite sex in a relationship? You are getting her energy and she is getting your energy. A man is going to experience some discomfort of feminine energy, which means he's got to start reflecting. He's got to start thinking about his life with somebody. The woman, because she's about security, the smart woman is going to say, "Hey, I'm going to capitalize on this. If I know this person brings security, how do I sustain security for us? Do I support him in what he's got going on? If he ain't got nothing going on, how do I support him in getting something going on?" So you're gonna have masculine energy being experienced in abundance with the woman, and then you're gonna have some feminine in terms of introspect. And I think some men don't they struggle very much with introspect, right? Let me think all this through. Let me think about this other person. And then I thought about this the other day, for example, when a man and woman live together, traditionally speaking, the woman is the one that keeps the house clean. She makes sure there's dinner on the stove when the man come home from work, and she is his calming methodology. Walk with me here. Give me a second. If a woman works full time, that man works full time. Here's what we're talking about conditioned relationships.
Mhm.
When they both come home from work, it's probably more realistic that that man knows how to cook, he knows how to clean, and that he knows how to think for himself prior to getting into a relationship. Because if a woman is always expected to cook, even though she might be tired, even though she may just want to do the same thing all the time, it is a responsibility of that man to have a level of introspect to say, hey, you know what, I'm a cook. Go ahead and get in the shower, relax yourself. I got us tonight for dinner. This is one of my primary examples of why I prefer a conditional relationship because people don't think about this a lot. It's just as much of a task and a goal for the man to be as competent that it is for that woman to be. A man shouldn't expect the woman to do everything, and she should not expect him to do everything. Let's look at the other side of this real quick. There are a collaboration of women that believe a man should pay all the bills, protect her, make sure she has everything she needs, this, that, and the third. And so, with that being said, those are conditions. If he stops doing these things for her, it is still a condition that maybe she's going to seek somewhere else, right? All that love stuff is out the door. All that's out the door real quick. However, if a woman has a friendship with a male that she's dealing with, it's her responsibility to be honest with herself. Is he capable? of taking care of business, being consistent, thinking things through? Is he an effective communicator? Is he honest and ethical about himself? Or he's not? As a friend, before they jump into some type of romantic relationship, everybody want to have this emotional outburst about love, 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 and unconditional. I think most people that think like that are very dishonest with themselves. And when they have unsuccess in their relationships, it's the other person's fault. It's not the other person's fault. If you say you love unconditionally, do you love yourself unconditionally first before you claim that you have nothing but unconditional love for everybody else? If you have unconditional love for everybody else and you don't have unconditional love for yourself, you're going to fall for everything. Then it's going to be somebody else's fault. Instead of you saying, hey, if we're moving from friendship to romance, oh my God, that is a slippery slope. Well, this is what's going to make this relationship work from my perspective. I would love to hear what you have to say. And if you're a smart investment, someone who loves to invest strategically, you're going to say, hey, this actually matches, right? Let's monitor this over time to see where we progress at and where we don't progress at. This is based on a sensible philosophy as opposed to, I love that person anyway. We're going through this, that, and the third. We're going through, back and forth arguing, or this person cheated on me, or man, she cheated on me, dog, and wow. I don't see unconditional love in that nowhere. Everything is based on conditions, except for the friendship, because she can be the most dishonest person in the world. She might have been observed to be deceptive from the beginning of the conversation, dating or whatever, whatever, whatever. But if I find that she has some real redeeming qualities, no, I don't want to be with her. But because of those redeeming qualities, I'm gonna maintain a friendship. I'll be a good friend, but in terms of moving beyond that, that's unconditional love. Because I'm not gonna judge her. She knows who she is. I know who she is, and that's just it.
You talked a lot about a lot right there. You talked about a lot. Let's first talk about if you're deciding to take a step, like you said, is an exchange of energy when you have intimate relationship with someone. My whole thing is that you're talking about that, but I'm like, but if you have conditions, because I'm still stuck in the conditions. I'm like, if you have conditions, then are you gonna tell me those conditions before we're intimate? Or how about if you have intimate relationship with this woman and then you realize she's not really how you thought or something, and like, how does that work? Are you gonna, because it's an exchange of energy for sure, and a whole lot of stuff that has to do with spiritual. But when you decide to take that step, do you do it before or after? Because you're saying I'm not sitting and telling her any conditions. Is For me, it sounds like as the relationship progresses, it's something that is expected or something by each person. Because you mentioned how when the guy is, if he's used to doing a certain thing, then that becomes a condition because he's always doing it. So the girl is expecting it. So is it more as the relationship progresses, you get to know what the condition is or not is? Because I don't know, a lot of people are like me. I'm just like in la la land. So unless you tell me, I don't know, you're gonna have to draw me a picture or something of what you're trying to tell me, because it's like, well, I don't see things the same as other people see it, let's just say. Or maybe other people see it like me, but particularly me, like I keep saying, I'm just a little weird and I don't see things the same. But you keep saying condition. But my thing is, if I'm dating a man, how do I know those conditions? Are we going to talk about it before we're intimate, or are we going to talk about it after? Because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, imagine, because you're saying friendship. Imagine you are friends with this woman and she seems really nice and blah, blah, blah. You have a long time. Let's say you take a whole year being friends with her and you adore her. And you decide to be intimate with this woman and you think you know her. And I don't know, 5 years in the relationship, she's like, so, Rack, I have this fantasy and I would like to have a threesome. And you're there, like, because, like you said, men, you guys think about things and analyze and do all that. You're sitting there like, I was friends with her for a year. We've been in a relationship for 5, and she always wanted to do a threesome. Like, where did this come from? Because you had no idea. So my whole thing is, you didn't tell her that you didn't really like that, or that you didn't agree with that. You didn't read your conditions. So what do you do after 5 years? You're like, you were intimate with her, you've been friends with her, you're kind of in a situationship right now. And next thing you know, you're probably even living with her. Like, what do you do? I'm just
All
saying.
right. That's a fair question, but I need you to be equally as fair to just listen. So what I said was, it is what it is when you first meet somebody. There's no need to set any expectations when you first meet someone. The problem with most people that they fail consistently at is you start out being honest. I think honesty is painful for most people, and deception and silence is the norm, makes them feel comfortable. Now, the scenario you just threw out there, 5 years into the relationship, if you're 5 years into the relationship and you're just now being told apparently that she wants to do a particular thing, this is for the real men out there. We already know from day one what type of person that she is. There's no all of a sudden she has this new thing. No, 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 no.
Really? You guys know?
No, no,
You guys
no.
can
Let me
read?
finish. A man, just as well as a woman, your main responsibility is to listen for understanding, not to respond. So, in the beginning of your stages of connecting with somebody, here's the deal. It's easier to be honest up front because you have nothing to lose, first and foremost. And then, secondly, if you want somebody to respect you for who you are, you start with honesty, and that's the play throughout the whole game. If someone's telling you 5 years into an intimate relationship that that's what they want, I mean, my mindset is good for you. This relationship is over, right? But as a friend that we established in the beginning,
But that's
tell me
not
about it.
fair.
No, because the friendship is compromised the moment that person pretty much says, yo, this is what I want to do. Now, I don't believe that women all of a sudden have this desire to be in a threesome 5 years into a relationship. I don't believe that. I think that that's something that's already there in them already. That's not an after 5 year type of thing. Although
Most
I
people,
appreciate the
most people
scenario you
don't.
put out there, right away, a thinking man already knows from the get that his responsibility is to encourage honesty and their early connect with each other. I like what 50 Cent said. This goes back to this whole understanding about being honest. He was on a talk show, and the talk show said, okay, he asked him a series of questions. He got to a question. He was like, hey, all right, so on the first date, who pays? Guess what he said?
I don't know what he said.
The person that invited.
The person that invited. So listen, some Spanish women will invite you and they still expect you to pay. So this is where I'm saying that a lot of people think differently, especially when it has to do with culture, if it's a man, a woman, or whatever it is. So you can't really say one thing and think everybody is the same way, because that's not true. A lot of Spanish women they will even invite you to the store and expect you to pay for all the stuff she picks out. And I am so serious about this. And if you are a man Carolina that's a little naive, you'll probably go to the store and be like, "Oh, I thought we were just walking around. What are we doing at Chanel?" And you don't have like $3,000 for a freaking bag, and you're sitting there like, "What are you doing?" Like, "What are you doing?" kind of thing. I'm just saying, not all men think the same. Really, not all the same think the same. Not all men are at that level, spiritually, mentally, however you want to say it. I'm sure there's a Carolina man out there that's really like not knowing or picking up what people are really like their true intentions. There's some Dominican, very VIP women out there that listen, they be doing some wild things. And you're saying, well, I'm gonna catch it. They're professionals. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That ain't my type of woman.
I don't listen. These women will sell themselves as so naive and nice and shy, and I'm telling you, once you're like in, because they will find a way to just rap you or something. That when you open your eyes, you're like, what did I get myself into? And I'm talking in general, in everything. I'm talking about they will get you in their house to pay all the bills. I'm talking about they have this certain way of manipulating people. So when you say we know, well, maybe all men, have that, but I'm just saying it is possible. Listen, a woman when she meets you, first of all, the intimacy thing is a little iffy for men and women. If I like something that is not traditional or society might see as not so good, I'm not gonna sit on the first date and be like, hey, so I like to do this. There's a lot of women who are with men, but also like women, and they wait till they're married or something to be like, hey, so I like women kind of thing. So like, can I have you and my friend or something? Like my friend is my girlfriend, not really my friend. There's a lot of weird situations out there. So you're saying, no, I'm gonna know. There's certain things that people don't say out in the open because they know society don't, or maybe in past relationships, they had this type of conversations and the person really dumped them. And maybe they really love you, Rack, and maybe they want to marry you, but she likes women. Her friend is her girlfriend, and she likes threesome, foursome, whatever, and she don't want to scare you away. She want to marry you first, and then slowly tell you, because maybe she thinks that she can convince you so that you can engage in whatever it is she's doing. I'm just saying, because you're saying I will know. I'm just saying. I mean, I heard some stories. I heard stories.
No, I want you to look at the other side of that. I think responsible people, I'm not talking about people who are impulsive and believe in the fantasy love and fantasy relationships. Those things typically end up disastrous, and both parties are seeking to blame each other.
Mm-hmm.
Each person, that's child's play.
Mm-hmm.
People who have already made a decision to invest in their own life are prioritizing the type of people they want to bring into their lives at that point of self discovery. This is what I'm trying to say. There's no way I'm going to judge a girl from the gate who says, you know what, I like women too. 9 times out of 10, in this era, men should be asking that question up front. There is no timeline on that because here's the deal. Two reasons why I would ask that question is I want to know if I'm, pleasing her. You know, at that point, if she has a thing for both, no judgment. We're at the beginning of rapport. That means that I'm going to encourage and promote unconditional connection. There is no judgment. I think, like I said earlier, that's the best time to put it all on the line when it comes to what a person. We're not talking about conditions. We're talking about likes and dislikes.
Mhm.
If I'm able to, promote that level of honesty, that's what our friendship is going to be based on. The reality is people run from that. I know early when I talked about a woman should already know she has the ability to observe a man's habits early on, just like he has the ability to observe her habits. Just what the hell are y'all doing otherwise? Right? So if someone says, well, a whole lecture, you should, I guess they wanted to say, she should read your mind. Well, let me say this. When it comes to that type of comment, all respect due. Somebody could tell you something,
Mhm.
it could be meaning a whole nother thing. Somebody could be telling you something and shaping your mind to do something else, or shaping your mind to behave or function another way. You're just another Manchurian candidate, somebody that's easy prey. So when you make a comment like that, hopefully you're in a good relationship. But most relationships last and are successful because we get all that BS out the way in the beginning. Let's talk about all the good, bad, and ugly right now at the friendship level. Because when we start pretending to be in a relationship unconditionally, because that's what most of it is pretending, you're going to get your feelings hurt. You're going to have thoughts of whether or not this person is for you. Maybe I should have chose old boy, vice versa. Maybe I should have chose old girl. And everybody has friends. That special friend that goes back years and years and years that they maintain contact with, baby. And when we're talking about, no, you should not have to read anybody's mind. People have to learn how to structure a thorough, transparent connection in the beginning. And if it's not worth it, no problem. I'm not saying that's a requirement because most people don't make that a requirement. They do whatever they're going to do when they have facade relationships. That means I can't tell you how I feel. You can't tell me how I feel. We're going to go ahead and pretend through this relationship. And, I'll tell you what you want to hear. She'll tell me what I want to hear. She won't tell me exactly how she thinks. He won't tell me because I think going back to this person who says you expect her to read your mind, I bet you the person you with told you exactly how they felt, your relationship will probably change overnight. But why wait until things go bad? Why not talk about who you really are in the beginning?
Right.
Who he really is in the beginning.
You see, the way you're saying things, and I keep going back to the same thing, is because I'm actually trying to understand. Like I keep emphasizing because I am talking about me, my perspective, and the way I feel when you're saying these things. Rack. So let's talk about my past relationship. The person that I met, right? The person that I met, or I thought I knew, I thought how he thought, I thought how he operated, I thought he was a nice person that came, from home to work and did all the things with me if I wanted to go to church because I was attending the Catholic church at that time when my kids were small. He will go with me, no issue. I believe in God. He believes in God. Right now, at this point, I think everything I like, he kind of was pretending he liked it too, or was, I don't even know how to explain it. Just to let you know, right now, as I sit here, a year and a half in Arizona by myself, just doing self discovery, as you say, and thinking about a lot of things. I have a lot of alone time to think and go back. And I'm like, it's been a 9-year freaking relationship. How did I not know this man was always a hoe? He likes strip club. He likes threesome. He likes that wild side. But I didn't really see that wild side towards maybe like 7 years into the relationship. he seemed he seemed like the person who I felt sorry for. Like, oh my God, let me help you. Oh my God. And to me, it seems like he was a little slow. Seriously, I really felt sorry for him. I was like, he just doesn't know much. At some point, I really thought he had some mental thing where I had to help him constantly because he just didn't know. Right now, after 9 years, I feel like I've been played all along, and he was just very smart and he played with me and toyed with me the whole 9 years. It's like the blindfolds are off, and I'm just like, I was dealing with a whole narcissist. He was a hoe, and I'm just sitting here listening to you, and I'm like, am I really that, like, am I dumb? Like, I'm like, did I trust too much? Why didn't I notice all these things? It's been 9 freaking years. So when you're saying that you should notice that, I didn't notice anything. For me, everything was rainbows. Everything was rainbows and flowers, and or maybe I was just so busy into my business, my house, my kids, and his kids, and involving all that I didn't have time to reflect and think on the things that he was doing. Because I'm sure he was doing things that I should have noticed who he really was. So I'm blaming it, I would say, on that I was very busy. I was that independent woman with the business and this and that. And my life in New York was just come and go, come and go. I didn't have time to sit and actually process things. So maybe that's why, or am I just dumb? I don't know. Because I'm sitting here like, do you not know what happened these 9 years? Like, am I dumb? Am I that naive? Like, I have those questions in my head. Like, what happened? Because you're saying we notice, people notice. I
Right.
didn't notice anything.
People start out having conversations with the person they may have a desire to be with in two different ways: pretend or being real. Those are two different lanes of conversations people typically have with each other. Let me just say this real quick. We learn our language styles from our parents.
Mhm.
Moms and pops kept it real with you, so real that they made you laugh till you couldn't control yourself, real. Or you have very strict um, parents that couldn't penetrate, your ether in terms of your spirit with, um, you know, truth and transparency. If your training style in terms of communication was square and it wasn't, that's going to be your approach as an adult. Let me just say this real quick. They're both male and female predators, emotional, mental, and spiritual predators. They have the ability to detect if you comprehend reality beyond yourself
Mhm.
or stuck in your own center of self. If you stuck in your own center of self, you are naive. The problem I see, I'm not talking about you. The
That's definitely how I feel.
problem that I observe in most people, they don't have the capacity to connect. I'm
Mhm.
trying to use the word love. They have the lack of capacity to connect on a genuine level. Let me give a little side note. If you haven't manifested the type of love that you say, I'm speaking in general, that means you don't have it either. You're only going to manifest what you are. If you are battling with a relationship that you feel is uncomfortable to you now, it's inconsistent, it's one way, you have to look no further than yourself because you vibrated that type of relationship to you. In other words, if you only want to see this reality from one perspective, these are for people who are not talking. Listen, I'm gonna make this pre-statement before I make the statement. If you love God, you better start trying to understand what God is. I'm about to say this. If God loves you unconditionally, look at nature. Look at the animal kingdom. Everything's based on survival. There is a predator and there is a prey. What's beyond that is higher intelligence. That means that if you carve out a certain part of the land, and all of this has to do with this show tonight. I just hope that people have expanding minds because all of this makes sense.
Mhm.
The creator of this reality has, you know, brought the unseen into the scene. It's okay for you as someone who believes in this God to study the God's work. The highest work of God is the intelligence, spiritual intelligence. So when your spiritual intelligence begins to develop, now you start seeing what the kingdom really is. And part of the kingdom is magnetism. You only want to get what you are. If you get into a relationship and you find that ultimately that person was deceptive, untrustworthy, and they were a facade, but that's what you accepted, you gotta start. People gotta start chopping down the walls early on. If someone that you want to talk to and you want to make sense of the world with is not willing to do that with you, move on. That's not where they are. And if they are there and they know what it is and don't tell you, you are not in an equally yoked relationship. That person wants to be the dominant one in a relationship, spiritually, emotionally dominant. They don't want to play fair with you. It's our job as people who are seeking clarity and meaningful relationships to become meaningful within ourselves,
Hmm.
become full of clarity within ourselves. So when I say every relationship to me is based on conditions, a lot of heartache comes from people who believe in unconditional relationships. That means that you're willing to accept more from other people than you're willing to accept for yourself. If you have true conditions, you want to make sure your hygiene is clean, your money is right, your businesses is in order, all this other stuff. You should expect the same thing from other people. You
Well,
know?
my whole say on this is it's not that I don't think that I vibrated at the same level because we were definitely very different. Um, personally, like I have properties, business, da 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 da. His wasn't really there, like altogether. Like I would say, like me. I just feel like what I needed to understand and see, because I guess that's why God put me here in Arizona. Like, Carolina, sit down and think. Let's remove everything from you so that you can think and see who you really are and you can process this, right? And take the blinds off of me. Um, I see, because I still do it. I see what people can be. I don't see, how would I explain it? Like, I know you're not a good person, but I see potential. I see what you can become. I see the good in you. But then now that I'm here and I, a year and a half, I guess, working on myself or healing or whatever you want to call this, I need to understand the reality, like what the person is right now. And yes, it's okay for me to see who he can be. It's okay for me to see, that he's doing these behaviors, but he can change them, right?
Hmm.
But I need to be in reality, as in, but he can be very successful, but right now he's not. And you need to sit with that in the present. And yes, he has these behaviors and he can change, but Carolina can't change those behaviors. He needs to make the decision to change. He needs to start healing. He needs to want to do that. You can't make him, or you can't have a conversation with him and he's going to act like he's changed, but he's not. A person can't change another. There's no way. They need to do the spiritual work. They need to work on themselves by themselves. This is something that I didn't realize. I guess before it's just me, seeing the good and yeah, but you're broke, don't worry about it. Let's sit down, talk about a business plan. I'm going to help you and you're going to become successful. Which is pretty much what I was doing, cuz I kind of built him up to a different I guess to a different, from like being a regular person to like a businessman type of mentality kind of thing. I guess I have the ability to do that and motivate and stuff like that. But I didn't understand that he wasn't doing the work. It was like I was helping him elevate, but he wasn't doing the work. So I wasn't really doing anything because the minute I removed myself, everything fell. So it wasn't really that I created a businessman. It's just that I was holding his hand. As soon as I moved here, everything fell to shit. Like everything just fell apart because he didn't do the spiritual work. He needs to do it. Carolina can't fix anyone. He needs to do the work and want to and understand why he needs the healing that he needs. Now I understand that. Before it was just like Carolina can fix it. Carolina can fix it. Oh, you're broke. Don't worry. Let's sit down. Let's talk about a business plan. Oh, you have, I don't know, this addiction to alcohol. Don't worry about it. Let's sit down and make a plan on how to get rid of that. You understand? Like I am the fix it planning. Let's, oh, you don't have where to live. Don't worry about it. We're gonna go online and find you a place. I'm about solutions. So, but I needed to understand the spiritual side. I wasn't seeing the spiritual side of it. I wasn't seeing the personal development, I guess. Like the work that I've done on myself since young, to go to college, to start a business, to get a house, to, have rentals and da 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 da. Since to me it comes normal, I guess anybody can do it. In my eyes, it's like you can do it too. Let me show you. So I think that's where it's not I vibrated at this time. Because at this point, like seriously, I've been sitting here and after looking back and finding out, because it's like God didn't make me see, but now it's like I'm getting the bits and pieces of all the stuff these men have done. And I seriously feel embarrassed. Like, Carolina, did you really date someone like that for so long? And I'm wondering, did everybody know he was like that? I feel embarrassed because I'm like, I literally dated that type of man. Did everybody know except for me, kind of thing? So when you say that this is what you're attracting, it's just that I was in a mentality of, I'm still kind of, when people talk to me, really, you have the problem? Don't worry about it. Come, this is how you fix it. This is how you heal. This is what you need to do in your home. But I need to understand a little better what Carolina is about. You know what I mean? Because it's pretty much what I do in my channel. But I need to understand when to stop. Like when I'm helping someone also, I'm learning boundaries and I'm learning, for example, if a person, if I meet, let's say, a homeless woman and God sends me to her to help her, Carolina before will meet this woman, will find her a place, will find her a job, will go to the extreme to make sure this woman is okay. And then I'm going to fall back. At this time, I'm providing you the information so that you can start healing, so that you can do your work and not do it for you. Because by me doing it for you, you're not learning, you're not healing. It's just me doing the work. You're not learning anything. So the minute that I leave, you're going to fall to pieces. Yes, you're going to be in this apartment, but soon you're going to be homeless again because you don't know how you got there. Carolina did everything. You understand? So now I kind of understand where everybody has their own journey. They have their own process. They need to heal and they need to do the work. Because if you don't, because also something that plays a big part Some people are going through things because they're going through karma. They've done some things and they're paying for it, and they need to kind of rebuild themselves. And you can't get involved with that. You need to give them the information and let them kind of figure it out. So I hope you understood where I'm at right now, because before I will go all in for a person. Right now it's like, yes, God sent me to give you a message. You're gonna be okay, honey. Let me tell you what you need to do. But step back and not get so involved where I even would, how would I explain it? Saying no to a person, all of that comes into account. Like, I will put my self love, my self worth, if I'm tired, and still go ahead and help you, even though right now Carolina needs to rest. I can't do it. Before I would be like, let's go, let me help you. Right now, I'm like, no, I'm tired. I need to rest. Maybe in 3 days I can help you. So now I'm setting boundaries. I'm learning. I'm learning. I feel like I'm in a bike, and it's like I have the training wheels on this thing called life, because there's a lot of components to it. It's a lot. I'm learning a lot, I guess. I don't know.
No, I
Woo.
get you. You said a lot, but I get you. You know what the word chupere? Am I pronouncing this word correctly? Chupere?
What is
Chupere.
it?
Chupere?
Tuperi? I don't know. What is it? You're kind
Chupere.
of, huh? Type
C
it in the chat.
Cupere. Chupere. Chupere.
C
Chupere.
U CUP
Ere. Chupere.
Tupere. What is that? That's a Spanish word.
Yeah, it's Latin. It says it means to desire, to love, to lust. Pause right there. This is a Latin word for Cupid, for this so-called Valentine's Day stuff, right?
Uh huh.
Now, when you look up the mythology of Cupid, it goes into the god Eros, Eros, which is the god of chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was telling one of my friends this the other day. Everybody that gets into a relationship, when y'all get together, you're birthing a spiritual child. That spiritual child is your relationship that actually begins to unfold. Some people have chaotic spiritual children. In other words, your relationship goes to shit quick. Sorry. Some people's relationship goes through several depths of discovery, which means that not only is the woman that he's with going to see his shortcomings, she's going to see where he is failing at, and she's still going to be with him. She's still going to care for him. That male will do the same for her. This is the couple that wants to get into, there's something about their relationship that allows them to accept each other for who they are. There's no contract. There's no need to say this and that and the third. They're just willing to go through it together because they feel some type of way about that connection. Every so-called love or whatever relationship for most people starts in the gut. It doesn't start in the mind because first there's a physical attraction, then there's the emotional attraction, and then when that's all satiated or established, if it's established, the emotional, physical, sexual relationship, if that's really, really strong, it's going to be a struggle for them to start seeing um, the mental reality of each other or the spiritual reality. Because you can see me as a solid entity right now. That's the work of the physical eye. If you work on seeing yourself outside of the body, just a being. You hear your intentions, you hear what you about in reality. You're now beginning to see yourself as a spiritual being. All your shortcomings, all your bullshit, all your lies and deception, and then your ability to climb out of that and the work you're doing for yourself. If you do this work and you're successful at it, you will be able to do the same thing with your partner. You can literally sit with your partner and say, hey, I'm going to go from my physical eye and begin to see, hear, and feel this person from a spiritual perspective. And that's when intentions come in. Somebody, like I said, the person that called in earlier, or had a little chat thing, that was not a very spiritual, in depth comment to make. That you expect her to read your mind. At a certain point in your relationship, y'all gonna be thinking the same. You're gonna start a conversation or a word because you're in each other's mind. You're vibing with each other emotionally. And that's when intuition kicks in. You have to be willing to have that type of relationship with yourself first, and then have it with the other person.
I think your mic is kind of sounding interesting. Is it the mic? There's something that's sounding like.
Can you hear me right now?
I can hear you, but when you talk, it's like staticky, kind of like something. I don't know how to explain it.
All right, give me a second. Can you hear me now? How's that sound? Same
Yeah,
status?
I can hear you, but there's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like staticky something going on.
Give me a second. Just a second.
Here, let's read. Let's read. Keep Shining's comment as you. There's something. It's like when you have something plug in, and how do you explain it? Like the thing is not clicking correctly, and it sounds weird. You don't hear that? I guess it's definitely coming from you.
No, I turned off the audio machine. Give me a second, real
Okay, so Keep Shining is saying that's true. I think you partially accept that behavior, but joyfully, we can predict that someone may do or hide well. But yes, we can dig deep early and stand out for what matters the most. Do you hear that staticky thing? Rack, you can
hold on, let me see if I can do something. Hold on,
you
just
want like unplug the mic or something and plug it back in because it's something like that.
yeah,
So
give
Keep
me.
Shining is saying, I guess we choose our people and it can still go wrong. Life is full of trials and tribulations, even with the good. Yeah, like that sounding, whatever that was, it's something more. Whatever you touched just now. Life is full of
Can you hear me
trials and
better now?
tribulations. Yes, I think it went away. Even within the
Okay, great.
good, but amen to us being the best us for the best people. A lot to deal with and take on, but still came out better. He says, amen. The right love is real technical. Gotta be every professional for the perfect love, it seems. We really got to step up and show up better. The hard work got to be done from either side. Sounds like a fan. The noise is awful. Yeah, I know. I think it's a sensible mic because it's really good. One mic. Ha ha ha. He says. Okay, so when you're talking about when you see people spiritually, I want to tell you something. um, a little spooky, but I'm gonna be, just so you can understand how I started discovering who this person really was. And I'm gonna give you examples of some things that happen. They're a little, some people might believe it, some people might not, but I'm gonna tell you. So one day, when we were having, because we were on and off, because I just wasn't liking the things he was doing. It was more like, I was having dreams, like I explained in one of the videos. I was having dreams of him cheating constantly. Like it was just constant to the point where I was like this needs to stop. It's driving me crazy. I didn't understand why. I was like, what's the problem? The thing was, I was kind of waking up spiritually, but I didn't know. One day he came, I remember, for Mother's Day. We weren't together. It was like an on and on kind of thing. He showed up in my house with flowers. I remember he went upstairs and I was in the bathroom and he was standing at the door of flowers. When I looked at him, what I saw was him bringing flowers to another female. And I was just like, and I was just like, I was like, and I told him too. And I was like, I literally, like, I see you with the flowers. Thank you. But I was literally like, I literally just saw you bring flowers to someone else. Like I was trying to explain to him. I was like, in my mind, I just saw a movie where you are like bringing flowers to another female. He was quiet. He went downstairs. I remember he sat in my living room with my dad quietly and didn't say a word for the rest of the evening. I didn't think anything of it, right? But now that I'm thinking back, I'm like, I was waking up and I didn't know. One time I visited him at work. Listen, well, it wasn't like at work. Like we met in a place, right? And we were eating so we could eat. We're having lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it. Cause he was like near my house. So we met at a place. And when I saw him, how would I explain it? I didn't see him like what he was wearing. Who I saw was, how like in New York we call them bums, but those people that are in the corner that are dirty and don't have a place to live and they look weird, like bums. I don't know if you have another word for a person that's homeless and stuff and smells.
Homeless.
What I saw in him, like it was like hi, because we weren't together. We were still going through this thing, and we met for lunch or whatever. I remember it was like a Chick-fil-A or whatever. I don't know how to say that.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. There you go. When I saw him, I had to stop, and I was just like, in your mind when you're like, "Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Like, what is going on with my eyes was just playing. It was going wild. I literally saw him as a bum. And I was trying to like get close to him, and I'm like, does he smell like one? Like, and I was just shaking my head, and I was like, but that's not what he's wearing. But he looks normal. Like, why am I seeing him like that? So I asked someone, right? I know this woman. I know this woman. She's old now. She's like almost 90, very sick. But I known her for like 20 years, and she's a witch. I'm talking about real witch, not the God good witch. No, talking about whatever you want her to do, she's gonna do. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. She's not, she does whatever it is. And I remember I called her. I'm like, listen, what's going on with me? Because I literally saw, I'm like, I saw my man, but I didn't see him how he was. Like I saw a bum. And I'm like, I'm trying to understand because am I going crazy? And she said, what's happening to you is that you're seeing him spiritually, not physically. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I tell you, when she told me that, I was like, what do you mean? He looks like a bum spiritually? I didn't think anything of it, like I said, because I didn't know what was happening. I was just like, what do you mean spiritually? He looks like a bum. But why does he look like a bum spiritually? Like, what?
Boy, boy, boy.
So,
Something's wrong with you.
when you're saying this, I want you to understand what was happening in my relationship. I was supposedly naive and was only seeing the good, but it came to a point where my eyes was already showing me weird things and I didn't have an explanation for it because I always been spiritual, whatever, but I not to the point where I am now, where I sat down and I'm trying to understand the things that I can do and cannot do and see and hear and whatever. I wasn't at that point. So I didn't know what was going on. I literally thought I was like, I had this lady, she was like, calm down, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not going crazy. Because for a normal person, it's like, I can't tell my neighbor or my friend or anybody because they're going to be like, what? you're seeing things now. But the me whole seeing him giving flowers to someone else and him being quiet the whole evening, it was like, how the fuck did she see that? You know? And it had me thinking, I'm like, I am actually seeing things that are happening. They're showing me through my eyes, through vision, the things that this man is doing. Like, Carolina, don't go back with him. Look at what he's doing. His side, because I tell you, if he was in silent the whole evening, we're talking about silent sitting in the living room like this. And all I said to him was, I saw you giving someone else flowers. So imagine me telling you some weird shit like that, and you just gave somebody else flowers. Isn't that? He was like shut down, quiet. And that was my confirmation that, he did do that. So a lot of things
But
like
you,
that started happening. So,
but you didn't. You got it when you were supposed to get it. But that's what I said earlier. I know that person that put that comment out there probably wasn't thinking or probably can't think. Is that when you deal with somebody, you got to understand something. You're dealing with the physical person. Most people are bound to the physical reality. And then there are people who can see both sides. They can see intentions, which is the spiritual side. If you work on your own intentions, what are you doing here? What are you really seeking, right? And you're trying to move forward with manifesting what you're seeking. You're working with yourself on a spiritual level. At a certain point, you should be able to see a person's spiritual body when you deal with them. This is sad because people have, you know, sexual relationships and they don't even know how to communicate there. When they get out of the come out of the sexual experience, shower, bathe, whatever, they revert back to the same flimsy, non-developed communication with each other. Lies sound good. Lies are more comfortable than the truth. No one is speaking how they really feel. No one's really talking about their life from a very conscious perspective. These relationships are dead. This concept of LOVE, people got to realize something. Are you in love from the gut? Are you in love from, spirit and then, the God home up here? Because that's when love transitions into a different level of that relationship or companionship. You're never going to see life the same when you intend to have a spiritual relationship with somebody. If everybody was having a ethical spiritual relationship with each other, there will be no divorces. There will not be no baby mamas, baby daddies. When you reach a certain level of the type of relationships you're having with somebody, from not just a physical relationship, but you want to have a spiritual, that's when y'all start journeying together. This is when y'all start really building together. We don't ask the questions we're supposed to ask. And we don't talk to each other about what's going on internally. In the case where somebody, I'm even going to use you for example, are getting dreams. That's an example of suppression of the feminine. Is that the feminine aspect of everybody is intuitive. It knows the end. It already knows what's happening. It already knows everything that unfolded from the start up until where you are right now. You can easily lie to somebody, the mere mortal, physical person, but you can't lie to a person's spirit. So that's what I said earlier. Most relationships should not make it past the courting stage. They shouldn't make it to the physical sex stage. They shouldn't make it to that level of connection because you're supposed to intuitively understand. As we're talking right now, if we had a frequency wave, we would see the shifts, whether it's a low frequency or a higher frequency. You know how I can tell? Because I feel when someone is talking, begin to be intuitive about what they're trying to arrive at, whether they're trying to arrive at it um, with negative intentions or manipulative intentions, or whether it tried to arrive in trying to, in that moment, move into self discovery. Most people are not spiritually awake.
Yes. So how do you
So
know?
you should
God
know
was
by listening.
listen, God was just like, Carolina, stop being naive. That's it. Like, let me show
Right.
you in a vision what the hell's going on. Let me show you in
Because you
dreams.
were busy in
Because
your
you had
masculine
enough.
energy. Because
Like,
you was busy in your masculine energy. Because when y'all exchange energy, the woman will be more enthusiastic. She's going to be more ready to get stuff done, right? And
hmm
that means that she's only going to see things from a physical perspective.
hmm
The male, he is either spiritually social or he's not. If he is spiritually social or spiritually sober, he's going to be able to interpret you just off the energy alone, how you feel, what your likes and dislikes are. He's not just going to hear you, um, your regular voice. He's going to hear what the real voice is saying behind what you're saying. If you want the relationship to become a team oriented, his actions are going to show you that he's actually hearing you from a spiritual perspective.
or he just want to play you. Because obviously, I feel like a person who's spiritual and sees me, even if he wants to play with me, he's not going to because he knows the repercussions of that is if he's spiritual, he will know what messing with a person who has, I guess, I don't know, that divine connection or is intuitive or because I definitely wasn't awake and I didn't know like who I was or what's going on. I didn't know me per se that that I could be this spiritual and do all these things. I didn't know, but a person that sees me spiritually is not gonna, a man who is awoke or whatever it is and is spiritual is not gonna try to go and lie, betray, and play with the woman if he sees her spiritually. Because a man cannot just, I mean, now it makes sense because in all my relationships that guys cheated, their life turns to shit after I leave them. And all the men out there that I dated, please come to my channel. I would love to have an interview with you. Let us know how that shit went. Because to this day, I have men from my past calling me, I'm really sorry. And I'm like, nigga, it's been 16 years. Like, what? Because they think that saying sorry is going to fix their life. But I feel bad now because I didn't know then, but their life turns to shit as soon as I walk away from them. I'm not talking about as soon as I walk away. I'm talking about if I help them build a business, it goes to shit. If they have an apartment, it goes to shit. If they have cars, whatever it is that they gain being with me, or even everything is like stripped from them and their life turns upside down. I didn't understand that before, but these are things that I think a man who's spiritual and sees a person, right? Their energy, I don't think they're gonna want to go, oh, let me mess with this one. Let me play with this one. Because Carolina's naive. Carolina's gonna believe everything you say. But then what's gonna happen? After I toy with her and play with her, am I gonna go in my merry life and just be happy? It hasn't happened. So there's gotta be something there where if you actually spiritual and know, and I don't think people who are spiritually will go around playing with people because they know, not just because of the other person they're playing with, but because they know better. They should know that there's consequences because they know better, right?
Yep. Reap what you sow.
Yeah, so I don't think he was, or he is spiritually. I know there's a lot of people who are not spiritually woke and maybe they just meet the wrong one or maybe the right one. I
No,
don't
no.
know.
Spiritually, people, let's just, I know we both get this, but to make it even easier for the audience, spiritual sobriety just means that, you know what? I know I'm responsible for my own outcomes. I know that I'm responsible for how I engage with other people.
Mhm.
I know that either I'm going to get something out of this relationship or I'm not. But how do I feel as a person as I engage with? For me, if I go out on a date, if I talk to someone, I've had to talk to someone where I had just met this person, we went out to eat. In my mind, first and foremost, I love seeing God in the physical. Disappointing part about it is if you don't realize that you're going to be a very, very unpleasant experience. For me, if your mind ain't right. I can deal with somebody who is not aware of their relationship with the creative force is um, right now, in this
Mhm.
very moment. But if they're rude and they're just, like ignorant, I don't have a tolerance for that. Anyway,
What do you
um,
mean? What do
let
you
me
mean
finish.
by that though? No, no. What do you mean by that though?
What?
Someone who doesn't know, you don't have time for that. What does that mean?
No, what I'm saying is I'd rather spend time with someone who may not be aware that the reality of their relationship with the creative force is right now, in this very moment.
Uh-huh.
That's cool because there's a lot of spiritually unintelligent people that are really nice.
Mhm.
They don't have no negative intentions. They're just not at the level of awareness that perhaps maybe I'm at to a certain extent. Nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. But there's a different class of beings. They don't give a shit, right?
Hey,
That doesn't
no.
mean
That
we're
is true.
all from we're all from the so within and so without. We're all from the as above, so below, right?
Mhm.
We're all in between. But it's people who don't at all. And they have the worst level of arrogance. They have the worst level of concern for others. And this stuff should be discovered early on, right?
Mhm.
So that we don't waste our time. Because, when you start developing internally and the light starts coming on and you really start having a good level of aha moments, introspect, and you take the time out to do the work that comes with that gift, you're not going to be susceptible to certain people. You're just not going to be accessible anymore. They
Mhm.
can't access you from an energy perspective. They can't access you from an emotional perspective because you've got control of your emotions.
Mhm.
It should be as below, so above, from where you grow from thinking things through from a emotional level, right? You know, the gut feeling of I need to be in a relationship. Why? I want to have sex. I want some steady, you know what? I want somebody to lay with, and then that this, that, and the third. To hey, I'm very particular about the type of people I bring into my space. I already know what I'm working on within me, and then your energy will change. Everybody you kicking it with. This is why meditation is so important. Is when you kicking it with people, you're going to mesh with them, their energy, right? You're gonna feel some type of way because y'all meshing, but getting y'all intimate now, y'all literally are experiencing the fluids that start from the mind up
Mhm.
here all the way down the spine. Now y'all really sharing each other's energy, and it's no surprise for you to have had these premonitions of these visions because y'all have an exchange. So once you start his thought process, his whole life in terms of those experiences that he may have been having, when you weren't around, they're now your thoughts. So they might appear as a dream. When I said in the message about suppression the feminine, I said before the feminine is based upon internal everything. You can't
Mhm.
have it external without the feminine first, right? So it is a gestational stage. Even thoughts and visions gestate within, and then they become expressed outwardly. That's how this goes. So this whole topic tonight is not what people expect is some type of quick fix. It's not. When you love from a gut, It's all animalistic. When you love from above, you're able to let go of the illusion of a romance when it's
Mhm.
not working out, and you'll be able to maintain the unconditionality of friendship. I've had some pretty shady ass friends, but I have to love them unconditionally, and I have to government the type of space I keep with them. They know it. I know it. Ain't no secret. But I love them unconditionally. And if I were to be in a romantic relationship with someone and they show, well, you know what, this can work on another level, and I've been there. At a certain point, I'm cutting off this concept of this illusion of love, and I'm going to revert back to the friendship. And I've literally said in certain examples, hey, this relationship is not working. There's too much of uncertainty that's hitting me from a gut feeling. I don't really want to judge this, but hey, I want us to, work on our friendship. And it didn't comprehend with that person. So it hurt temporarily because I realized in their mind, we never had a friendship, you know. But that's where your judgment call for me as being a male, um, I have to constantly be logical because am I going to be disappointed at her if it don't work out, or am I going to say this is as far as we can go at this level? But
Mhm.
let me double back and maintain that we do have a friendship. So I had someone I think I took her out one time. We had a really good conversation, and we talked on the phone for a little while. I didn't get a good vibe. It wasn't my thing, so to say. However, I'm cool, very neutral. Maybe she might say something one day that might actually pull my attention, right? That
Mhm.
never happened. What it started to be was she began to be very possessive, right? All I did was go out one time and we just had conversations. You don't call no more. You don't want to see me no more. And I'm like, okay, in my mind, either she's being controlling because that's just her impulsivity. She's not in control of that, or she's being manipulated. Because if I respond by giving her what she wants, those are manipulative tactics. If she's able to manipulate me, first and foremost, she will not respect me.
Mhm.
Second of all, it's almost as if though if you give somebody something and they didn't earn it, they're not going to appreciate it.
I see that differently though. And I explained this, believe it or not, to my ex. Women are emotional. If you go out with
Ah,
Listen, if you go out with the woman, right? Because after we broke up, he started telling me who he really was. It was disgusting. But anyways, when you go out with a woman to take her out one day, you have one conversation, one text, whatever. We are emotional. All of a sudden, you're my boo, you're my husband, you we marry you, we everything in one conversation, in one date, and one not. So you're saying she's trying to be manipulative? No, she sees you as hers already, and she wants to understand why you're not calling again. So even if you're paying for services, like I explained to him, when you pay for services, if you're paying for services with the same woman more than two times, even if she's a person who is out there, this is her job, we are emotional. This client has been here more than three times. Now I'm feeling some things for him. And next thing you know, she's showing up at your wife house trying to like unalive her and stuff. And you're understanding, but why? I paid you and that's it. And we have nothing to do with each other. We are emotional. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, I think all the time when you're in the situation when you go out with a woman one time, text her one time or whatever it is, I think that You need to give her some closure and say, you know what, babe, you're beautiful. I love you behind. But I don't think this is gonna work. So I don't think I'm gonna call you again. Even though some men, I don't know why some men don't want to have that conversation, or it's hard for them to have that conversation. I don't know, but we as women in general will say, you need to have that conversation to cut that off and let them know. And it's and it's not only women, because right now what came to my mind is something that happened with a friend of mine. She she had this guy who she was constantly saying no to, right? She wasn't dating him, nothing. He was just constantly trying to date her. When she started dating someone and went out with this guy, this man that was trying to date her for so long and was being very consistent showed up at the dinner where she was in a dinner with her man and this man's mother. And the other guy that was being consistent that she wasn't dating showed up and made a whole situation. And she just, all she could do was start crying. She's like, but we didn't date. You were trying. I kept saying no. So, I think this needs to be some kind of closure with men and women, because obviously with her, it was a little interesting. It was a little interesting. I don't know. Like, I never seen a man do that, especially after being rejected. But I think her answering his calls to say no and answering his text, even if it's to say no, for him, it was like we have a relationship. We're trying, or we're doing, or I don't know. Maybe it's a yes for him because they're still talking. I think like I told her, you should have just blocked him and never talked to this guy again, because obviously she thought she could maintain. I don't even know what she was trying to do, like be in a friendship with him, or he's trying to date you. You should just cut that off at the beginning, because it becomes a problem. So you're over there asking, but I only dated her once. Like, what does she want from me? No, she thinks you her man and you're gonna marry her. And I don't know, you're going to Dubai or something.
You know what? That sounds good, but that is no way near what it was. Here's what I believe, just off observation. I think that we may have met at a point where she really needed some attention,
Hmm.
which infers that she probably has a relationship already. Two, if she doesn't have a relationship already, that's just her personality, which is why she doesn't have a relationship. Because if you are impulsive and you say, hey, women are emotional. Let me just say this to clear the air. Every being is emotional until they grow out of being primarily emotional,
Hmm.
male and female. I mean, in the work I've done, my personal life and the work I've done, anybody can be emotional to the point where they are non-thinking. They know that if they do X, Y, and Z, it's going to result in X, Y, and Z outcome. But down here in the gut, I must do this because I need the stimuli. I need the response. So men and women are emotional until they grow up. I think when you have the concept that women are emotional, there are some women who use the emotional to trigger meaningful thought, which means either she prays, she meditates, she studies, and she ends up regulating and governing her gut center or her root chakra or her emotional self. She realizes there's depths to her emotional self. So here's the science. Our emotional center is a spiritual component, which means it has the ability to take you back to your childhood. It can utilize your five senses and take you back to when you were a child. All you gotta do is listen to a song that was around when you were a kid. Then you learn the reality that you can time travel back to a certain point when you were a kid. You can't do this without your emotional center. It's a powerhouse of data. Like you can go back and you can feel the energy from that childhood. And that's where the magic comes from because most of us are undeveloped magicians because in a child's mind, there is no limits. They can do absolutely anything. I'm going to tell you a little funny story, which it wasn't funny when it happened. I was a real Batman fan, Superman fan. And when I first came to California, we were there maybe 6 months. And I was watching this cartoon, and the person took a umbrella and they jumped off a high space and they were floating and flying. Well, guess what I did? I took an umbrella and jumped off the top stairs in the apartment complex. The worst gut pain I ever had. But I was like 8 or 9. I told you it wasn't funny. That was the hardest pain I ever. I went back up into in the house pretending like I didn't do nothing because I'm pretty sure my parents would have yelled at me. But I learned a tough lesson. But one of the things I realized and I reflect back on is that you can do anything with your mind to. Your outcome, how much work you put into it. And when we talk about emotions, well, women are emotional. People are emotional. So
So,
it's going to depend on.
so what you're
Mhm.
saying is that there shouldn't be a closure. I tried dating you. We can't be friends. Let me cut you off right now before this continues. You're saying that there needs to be no closure. Like my friend, she didn't
No.
need to. Like I told her, I was like, you should have just blocked him and not continue the conversation with him because, like, what are you trying to do? Convince him that you're not gonna be something? Are you trying to keep him as a friend? Why is he even on
She's
your
stringing them
phone?
along.
Yeah, like
She's
why are
stringing them
you even?
along.
Why is he even on your phone? You should have just been like,
And
no.
because he wasn't emotionally intelligent, that's what getting string along is for, is to assess a person's emotional intelligence level and determine if they are responsive or if they're non-responsive. So if he is gut hooked on this girl and he doesn't have a sensible enough amount of logic, and if she identifies that in him, then if everything didn't work out with old boy, she can always revert back to him, but she ain't really liking him, but
You
he'll
think
fill
that's
in
what
for
it was?
now. No, that's why I told you that song earlier. That's what that song is for. That Usher song.
Well, it didn't
Not
end up
about
well
love.
with her because the man she was dating ended up, not being with her because
Right.
that scenario at the dinner was like imagine you in a dinner with someone you're starting a relationship with and somebody shows up making a whole show. That's like there's no explanation. I don't care what you have to say. I don't like even if she didn't have something like I'm trying to explain to her, even if she didn't have something with this guy, it just looks bad. And I told her,
Right.
I'm like, after that happened, I don't know, because she was really thinking that they were gonna continue, but I'm like, that's gonna linger in his mind until one day he's like, I can't do this, I can't do this because how do you, there's no way. I told her, I'm like, think about it. If some girl showed up to the dinner and said he's this and that and blah 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 blah, you're gonna have that in your mind. There's no going back. There's no fixing it. For me, there's no how do you work through this? 10 years will go by and I will literally mention rack. Remember that time? Remember that time 10 years ago when that crazy lady showed up? So it's hard. I think there needs to be closure and cutting people off if you know that person has feelings for you or is trying to have a relationship with you. I don't believe in this let's be friends because in the back of their mind what they're trying to do is have a relationship with you. You're
And
saying
that's
that
a
with your
problem.
but with your little
That's a
friend,
problem.
but wait, with your little friend, right? What happens if you start dating now and she shows up at the dinner or whatever and she makes a whole show? How are you gonna explain that to your new girlfriend?
That she was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, that she was crazy. Yeah.
and the girl is supposed to understand.
Here's the deal.
But how will you
I
feel
am
if it was backwards? How will you feel if
no,
some
no. I
guy
got
showed
you.
up?
I follow you. I'm following you, but what I'm trying to explain to you is to respond to your first question was when I initiate and go out on my dates or whatever, I'm very, very honest and open
Hmm.
about my dating life. I'm so animated and so authentic that I do have a storyline. Like I want to talk about awkward dates, and I'm almost certain that that conversation about that scenario will come up. But like I said at the beginning, that person already had it in their mind what category they wanted me to be in
Hmm.
when I deal with them. You said it nicely. Well, they were already thinking about a relationship. No, that's a narcissist. Because the
Hmm.
reality is, I don't care how fine this female is. I work with a lot of very attractive women.
Hmm.
And, I see attractive women. I am not going to envision myself with them. If I have a conversation, they're going out on a date with someone. Yo, my thing is, this person is in my life for a reason. And if all I can get out of this relationship is knowledge, if I can get a woman's perspective on anything, that's more data for me. I'm not assuming that I'm going to be with her. And let me just put this out there. Listen, we've always been in a season of women give access to sex.
That
Men give
women
access.
give
Hold on.
access.
Wait, let me finish.
Let me go inside. Hold on.
Women give access to sex. Men give access to relationships.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that a responsible man understands this. Therefore, he's not willing to have, you know, um, these fantasy relationships because that's what most of them are. Because when you deal with someone, you got to realize they already have a background. They may have somebody that they was with in the past and maintain relationships with, whether it be every blue moon or every holiday season. They're still connected to other people because the connection represents a very pivotal, very strong, passionate, whatever the connection was. They still have that connection. There's absolutely no way a man should be visualizing being in a relationship with a woman he just met. That's different than visualizing having sex with her or having a romance with her. That's different. But to say let's move on beyond the physical and let's deal with the mental meaning, do we have a plan to be together? What's the vision of us? Is it just the bedroom? Is it in her mind? Is it just dealing with the world from a very distracting way? Because most women want to go on trips all the time and they want to, forget about this. And there's a category of men that's willing to finance that, right? So when do they get past all this? When do they get to the point where okay, boom, what do we want to build for ourselves for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? On top of that, dealing with the reality that, hey, this romance relationship may not work out for us. Something might come up. Are we strong enough as a team to realize, hey, whatever we put together as a team, can we maintain it? Can we profit off of this together as a team? Why can't people realize that your romantic relationships are not guaranteed, but your relationships that are based upon your vision and what you want to accomplish should never change because your vision comes from uniqueness. It comes from sincerity. It don't come from lust and just want to be engaged with someone and trying to just be stimulated. So there's a big difference. And I don't think most people are on that level. They're not.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
keep shining is on point. Keep
yeah.
shining can think.
Can
Very
you
thoughtful person.
Yeah, man got to emotionally intelligent and know his own boundaries and know what he wants and vice versa. Boundaries, beliefs, and characters too. It's a high
And that's
level.
what women attracted to. This is what women are really attracted to. And what that looks like is this.
Yeah, let shit tell me.
I,
What is it? Tell me. I wanna hear
okay,
this.
all right, okay. Slowly roll, slowly roll. Listen, what happens when a man is emotionally intelligent, as Keep Shining says, and know his own boundaries and knows what he wants? Let's stop there. I know Keep Shining was being fair because he said, hey, vice versa. And correct, totally correct, Keep Shining. So what I'm trying to say is a lot of women do not know how to respond to a man that has boundaries. Typically, a man, once he see a woman's biology, her, curves or whatever, he's gut hooked. But a man has to ask himself, that's temporary, but what I got going on and what I built for myself is long term. What I built for myself is predictable. The only way this can fall is if I let it fall and stop paying attention to it. A man can pay attention to it all the time, but what he has to understand is he can't predict, he's not supposed to control, and he's not supposed to depend on her ability to focus on one relationship at a time. I don't think I've ever lived in an era where, husband and wife were together for 20, 30 years. I've had a few friends that live in California where their parents have been together that long. Kyoka's parents were together for until the father passed away. Mom is still living. But the residue and what came out of that relationship between those two are 4 kids, graduate degrees. Kyoka is she's a director um, for the school district. She's been with the school district for, I would say, freaking 25 years. What I'm saying is that is the outcome of people being together for decades. They understand the mission. They understand what the plan is. And they did not let any type of impulsive desire get in the way um, of their structure that they created for each other. Very, very conservative, beautiful people. And it hurt her when her father transitioned. But you can see the decency, her mentality, how she thinks, how she moves, how powerful it is to be with someone that's on the same page as you. And it took a serious man like her father to play a part in that structure, in that relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love how you talk because you're talking from, I mean, most of your conversation is from how you see a relationship and how a person who has actually worked on themselves and see, what a relationship is supposed to be, or with the conditions and the things that you want and the structure.
Hmm.
But I feel like there's a lot of people who don't really know what structure is and how things should be, because
Mm.
they growing up did not live in a functional, I guess, dynamic where mom and dad had a good relationship. They don't know. Like I was telling my friend, how can you want a beautiful, good partnership, or a nice love, how they say, or you want a good man or a good relationship, it's good to want that, but do you know what that is? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't know what a nice, good love is, which is something, we've been talking actually in the podcast that we have, me and Catalina, we were talking about it because I told her we can talk all we want about wanting a nice love and I want to grow old with him and have a nice relationship. But most women like me, because I always put me in the middle of what I'm talking about, if you don't know what a structure, family, or good relationship is supposed to look like, you're not expecting that from your partner, so you don't even know if is that a good thing or not. For example, wanting flowers like every week. If you don't see your dad or mom or whomever bringing flowers, you cannot go by, like we say, the movies. Oh, that beautiful Cinderella love, and that movie, Beautiful Love. But in reality, do you know anyone who has a nice relationship? Do you know what that consists of? Do you know anyone who brings their wife flowers every Friday? And it's like, here, babe. Or do they only bring flowers on special occasions or not bring you flowers at all? Like I was telling her, my dad used to say um, to my mom, which is, you know, um, he used to say, why would I give you flowers if that is something temporarily? It's going to die in 2 weeks. So you know what I mean? It's like I love flowers. Let me just tell you. And I love giving flowers to other people, like my mom and things like that. When I give her flowers, I think back because she loves flowers. But just growing up, hearing my dad say that, do I expect a guy to bring me flowers? I didn't see that. Now that I'm older, like I said, and I'm self-discovering and a little too much going on in my life. It's like a lot of information all at once. Like I said, it's like the blindfolds are off and I'm just getting too much information where I need to be in quiet time and be like, okay, God, I know you want me to see the world, but this is a lot to process because it's like I'm 41. I've been sleeping. I didn't see things the way I see it now. Now I'm seeing things that I guess before I didn't see, and it's hard. So when you're talking about I want this and this structure and this and that, it's beautiful, but there's a lot of people who don't see a relationship like that. They're not capable of seeing it. They don't know what it is. I can say personally, till now I haven't had a nice love, a good love, or whatever you want to call it, where a man has shown me how a man should treat a woman. And I can say that in my relationship, I didn't have it. I didn't see it with my parents. I say that I want it, but do I really know what that is? No one around me is in a nice relationship. Everyone is in a situationship, in a cheating relationship, and it's like, how do I guide myself? Do I guide myself by the Instagram fake relationships? Do I guide myself by the movies? Like, what am I guiding myself with? I don't have anything around me tangible that I can say, well, I have a friend who her husband does this and that for her. No one around me has a nice relationship. Family, friends, neighbors, you name it. I'm like in the middle of, God, please show me what a nice relationship is because around me, I don't see it. So, a lot of people are in the same situation, even though, now I'm a little woke to seeing things differently. But what do you say to a person who everything around them is the cheating? So they normalize all that. They're not expecting anything other than, because I also have people who are like, oh, well, all men cheat. So might as well have someone who gives me money. And I'm over here like, I will murder you even if you got money on top of your Bentley. Like, we're not doing that. I'm like, we're not doing that. Listen, so do you understand like what I'm saying? Like a lot of women have this mentality that they have normalized all the wrong things because they don't see it around them. They didn't see it growing up. And they really don't go by the movies because they see the movie as something fake. You see a romantic movie, and you're like, oh, it's just a movie. I don't know anybody. None of my friends have a nice relationship. My dad is cheating on my mom, and all my friends are being cheated on. So I'm expecting my person to also do it. But I'm gonna get me a millionaire so he can cheat on me, but at least I drive a nice car type of mentality, you know?
That's the reality, though. I mean, that's the reality. And just I'm gonna stop and join you right at that point you just said about a long millionaire. He can do what he want to do, but that should be assumed.
Not
A man, wait. A man who has accomplished what he has accomplished has options.
for me. Mm-hmm. Options not to
He
be
don't
with
have.
me.
He does not
Option.
have any time to play around this desperate game of being a one-on-one relationship. That's desperate game of people who do what they can, not what they want. That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if a man is structured, most men that are structured have been through something in life, right? They've been through the trials and the errors of trying to figure out. Men go from being naive to aware.
Mm-hmm.
They go from getting hurt to not being hurt. And most men who go from being naive and hurt to not being hurt are not bitter because they realize that the reality of this physical world is predator prey. It doesn't matter what caliber animal you are, the human animal just appears to be more intelligent and cunning. But this is a reality of those who are aware and those who are naive, just like Keep Shining says. It is a predator prey reality. The predator prey reality goes as far as different philosophies about God. Predator prey. If you go beyond that and you realize, yo, okay, boom, I've been through this type of relationship, I learned something. I've been through this type of relationship, I learned something. The same thing to do with, finances. You go from living with someone, roommate situation, renting an apartment, then you realize, hey, oh, if I pay, and I've been here, $1,400 a month for an apartment, how much is that at the end of the year? You're not getting none of that back. Here comes another phase of intelligence. Oh, I'd rather just buy some property, right? And then, get all my accolades and all my deductibles. And now I also control how much I pay out. These are different levels of intelligence. Let's put this back to relationships. If a man is structured, he goes through his trials and tribulations. He's had very few emotional outbursts because of his disappointment in the world of predator prey. He's graduating to another level of intelligence, spiritual. Well, his spirituality kicks in when he realizes that this world is created to decay. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody that enters this reality from the unseen to the seen, your physical vessel is going to decay. Now it's time for you to work on your spiritual reality, which is immortal, right? Does not change, right? Your soul self, your soul level. That's when life becomes immortal for you. Cannot be perceived as immortal for you if you still live in a purely physical, emotional, gut hook, and impulsive life. Now, can she help you with that? Can he help her with that? Because everything else is child's play.
Well, wait. Stop there. So you're saying a man with money have options, right? Do you
You
think?
didn't hear nothing else I said. Go ahead.
Wait. Do you think a man with money with options? Do you think his finances can be affected by the effort he's doing with these women? Like having different one or multiple ones and cheating and doing all these things because he's very focused on business. He's building a lot of money, but spiritually he's not there and he don't understand the dynamic of being loyal to one and building with one. He don't even think a woman can help him do anything because he thinks he's over here. He don't care. He just wants to have, I don't know, strawberry one day and grapes another, and he's not really concerned about that. Do you really think, what do you think about that? A man that has options. Do you think his finance can be hit, or that if he doesn't work in his spirituality, the efforty that he's doing around with all these women can affect them?
You want my response or you just venting?
No, 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 no. I want you to respond because I have a nice story for you. I actually have two. I'm sorry.
Look, okay,
Go
listen.
ahead.
Let me just say this first. A man stops being a fool when he realizes that his actual seed is his life. So a real responsible man is not going to continue spewing out his seed. That's bottom line. Celibacy and or choosing one female partner that agrees that they're gonna have this type of situation. If she can please be um, monogamous just with him, because it is about energy exchange. Because I don't want to go crazy off uh, digging up in her, and she got a whole lot of other dudes she been dealing with energy up in her and fluids. No, no, it ain't going down like that. This is a
Oh, you can have,
conversation
wait,
for.
wait. You can have options. You
See,
have
you
the
cut me
money,
off.
so you can have different women, but he cannot have, wait, but she cannot have different men. Like you're saying that a
I
man
didn't
with
say that.
money can say to
I
the
did not say
girl,
that.
wait,
I
can
didn't say
say to
that.
the girl, do you agree? I'm gonna give you cars and all these things, but I am messing around with Maria, Susana, and Carolina and everybody. As long
Hey,
as you agree,
Keith
because
Shining
you can
said
have,
strawberries and grapes.
wait, but you can have other people, but I'm gonna have other people. And
Mhm.
you're gonna come into agreement with 10 different women that you're not gonna mess with no one, you're mine, but I can do whatever I want. And you saying something like that, you're saying that his life doesn't change because of him having different women if he's stable financially. Is that what you're saying? If he's stable financially, he's gonna keep being stable financially and nothing is gonna happen, and he's just gonna keep around messing around with all these people. As long as they're in agreement, right? Is
Are
that what
you
you're saying?
are you asking me am I saying that or are you telling me I'm saying that?
I'm just saying, are you saying that? Because that's what I'm getting. I'm just
Can
saying.
I respond? I'm gonna give you just a little bit. I'm not giving you everything. Um, I think that it works out well when a man has one woman that he wants to spend time with intimately.
Mhm.
Um, and he can have as many friends as he wants to, if he wants to. This goes the same with a woman. I like to have good conversation. I might want to cook, a female friend dinner and have conversations with her and just kick it with her. Don't have to be no sex involved. A lot of times it's really just exchanging ideas and exchanging energy. No, I think that what works smart for anybody, but since you're saying men, what works smart for a man is that he chooses one partner um, for intimacy. And don't put himself in a position where he's got to be having sex with all type of other women. But this is a real conversation from the gate with a partner. And if she can have any, she can do her. That's her body, her life, her mind. If she's the type of female that likes to go out on dates with her male friends and learn and do all this other stuff too, I don't have a problem with that. But if we agree to be intimate with each other exclusively, no connect. We ain't getting married. Nope. We not be, claiming to be boyfriend, girlfriend, none of that. But if she says, hey, Rock, at this point, I met somebody I like. I think I want to go to the next level with him. And I know this may be hard for a lot of women to perceive. Maybe some men who are very, um, you know, whatever, may not get. But as far as I'm concerned, I prioritize the energy that I connect with. I have nothing to say about the dudes that she kick it with. If she want to talk about that, if she want to, and talk about what she got going on, that's fine. But I'm not restricting nobody from nothing. That's how it all goes bad real quick. But my expectation is if we gonna kick it, we schedule ourselves for time together because I got all this over here going on, right? I'm not fixing to press her for her time. She's not pressing me for my time. We good people, chill. That's what it is. I respect her life, what she got going on, the vice versa. I mean, I got good friends that are district attorneys and, they own several properties. And it really is about the knowledge first and being able to maintain their own mental, emotional, spiritual sobriety. That's pretty much what I'm about. Let's hang out, chill,
That's
you
you.
know.
But I'm asking you, do you think a man with money, I'm not saying you, I'm saying just a man with status and money, do you think his efforty, just messing around with other women and playing with them and doing whatever because he think he can and he got the money and he can have whatever he likes, right? It's a whole menu. Do you think him doing that on a long term is gonna affect him financially or in his life in general? Or do you think he's gonna continue being this man of status and money and still messing around with all these women and playing with them and toying with them? And they're just gonna keep going in their life like nothing is going on. That's my question. Do you think it will catch up to him eventually?
I can't say. It depends on the person. That's not my route. But I mean, if we were using that as a scenario, the way you're describing it, I can't call it. I don't know. Each person is different.
Well, let me tell you a little story. I actually got two little stories.
Oh God.
Listen, of men with money. Let's start with one. First of all, they're both Muslim. Let's put it out there. I'm not saying religion. I'm just saying they're both Muslim. Both different nationalities and cultures and way different lifestyles and way different. So let's talk about the first one, right? Wealthy man, bunch of gas stations. He meets a nice woman, very young. This woman is just starting to do social work. And he doesn't tell her. First of all, she doesn't know that he has the money that he has. She didn't know. When they were dating, this man even went to pick up this woman, like when they were going on dates in a regular car, not his real car, just to tell you. So she didn't know he had the money he had. She didn't know anything. But what she did find out after a couple of years was that he was married.
A
And the
Muslim
reason,
man?
huh?
You say he's Muslim?
Muslim. He was married with kids. And I didn't know what religion or what nothing. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the nigga got money. I didn't know anything. The man will pick me up in a regular like Honda. To this day, I'm thinking where he got that car from. Like, just a regular car. After
Hmm.
years in a relationship, um, you find out he's married because his wife gets in contact with you. Um, his phone never rang. I'm talking about this man will sleep with me, right? Like staying at my house. That phone never rang. I came to find out after talking to his wife that they had a 20-year relationship, uh, marriage. I found out that he will tell her, only call me when there's an emergency. She wasn't allowed to call him unless it was an emergency because I was like, what do you mean you're his wife? He literally spends weeks sleeping with me. Like, where were you? She's like, well, I wasn't allowed to call him unless there was an emergency. And this woman was Dominican, his wife. Dominican just like me. He was from Jordan. I don't know if you're
Mm-hmm.
watching this, Habibi. but but listen, the only I don't know if I'm putting this earth to give people lessons or what the hell. This man, first of all, he divorced her after, and it was a whole thing. It wasn't just me. This nigga had a whole nother phone full of women. And after a 3 hour conversation with his wife, it was like he had a lot of women because she was asking me, well, were you the one with him in Miami? Because somebody answered the phone, and I'm like, no, I know. Anyways, so I didn't know anything at all. He divorced her, right? After he divorced her, he did come to me and said that he wanted to marry me, but I didn't believe him. He was that serious. Now I understand he was that. I thought he was playing. I was like, this is just playing with me. He did. He married someone else from his culture. It was crazy because even though I wasn't there, it was like my spirit was still like in him and the relationships and whatever. This woman somehow found out about me because this man goes around saying that I have a special place in his heart to everyone in his family. So I guess she wanted to find out who this Dominican was. I didn't even know he was married because I wasn't in contact with him. And this lady will call me at 3 in the morning saying what she said. She called me from his phone. I had no contact. It had been years I wasn't with him or anything, or even talk to him or anything. I was living my whole life. And she was like, if you want him, 3 in the morning. I'm talking about hello. Like what? Like it was weird because like why is this man calling me 3 in the morning? Like, is there an emergency? Because he tend to do that every time he had a problem. For some reason, he came to me to tell me about his problem. So I thought 3 in the morning, I was like, oh my God, something's going on. This woman says, I'm his wife now. And if you want him, you can come and get him. You know what my response was? It wasn't nice. I was like, he's already mine. This woman went off. That's how I found out she was like from his country because she went off in Arabic telling him all these things. And she was like, listen, she put me on speaker and she was like, she said that you are hers. Blah 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 blah. Tell her something. All he said, man, listen, all he said was, what do you want me to say? And then they just kept whatever in their language and I hung up. But just to tell you, this man went to hell and back with this Arabic woman. I'm talking about his life flipped upside down. After the betrayal with me, his whole life turned upside down. I'm talking about gas stations. He lost so much money because this woman will go in there as a demon. I mean, I would say demon now, but before I didn't know what was going on. She just, from what from when someone was telling me, she went and, she found out that he was cheating with someone, destroyed his whole gas
Ugh.
station. He was arrested with her because the fight and the violence was insane. So this is what I'm saying. You can come and play with me, but it's like after I leave, it it gets interesting. Now I'm looking back and I'm like putting everybody in the categories. And so when you're saying that a man with money, there's no consequences to the thing he does. This man whole life flipped upside down. And he will call me and tell me this is how I will know all these things. I didn't know what was going on. Now I can probably sit with him and be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Habibi. Listen, if you're listening to me, I didn't know I was a little magical and things happen. I am sorry. I don't know what's going on. I swear. Because I know right now Everybody's, like I said, I wasn't in social media before or anything like that. I only have a little bit doing all this. I didn't know certain things. And I'm pretty sure people are looking at me like, you witch, because of you, my life turned upside down. But it's not me. Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not here doing rituals because you cheated on me or anything like that. It's just like a pattern that I'm seeing, that I'm with men. And if they toy with me, things happen in their life. And the same thing happened with the other person, who was also a very wealthy person, not even in this country, in a different country. The same thing, he had a wife. The same thing when I left him, the whole country found out what he did to me. I'm talking about his life just flipped upside down, did a whole 360. It's like they're left with their hands like this after they're done with me. And I can't explain it. So that's why I'm telling you, based on my experience and the situation that has been happening, I'm like, is it a coincidence that everybody I leave, their life turned upside down? Or is it just like, as you say, as above, so below? Maybe their effort is catching up to all of them, and I think it's me, but it's not really me. Maybe it's just God giving them a lesson because they have years with this behavior and doing these things to women. It's not just me. They've been getting away with a lot, you know? So I mean, it's funny to me. Habibi, if you're watching me, I swear, because he sees everything I do. Habibi, I swear I did not know anything. I don't know anything.
Well, thinking about it from an Islamic perspective,
Oh, Jesus.
a man can have, I hate to say the word can. Outside of the God concept, people do what they're gonna do anyway. So a man can have more than one wife.
My bad. Mhm.
Again, I don't like using the word can. It's almost like somebody got to give you permission. No.
No, no, no,
A
no. But
man,
wait. His wife, the first scenario I told you, his wife Dominican, she told me that she did not accept him cheating. It was like talked about. Like, I know you Muslim, but I don't accept that. But I don't understand why she stood for 20 years. I mean, they had kids and stuff, but that wasn't a you Muslim and I know you cheating. She said clearly, she had this conversation when she started being with him, like, no, I'm Dominican, I don't accept that. So it wasn't like a permission, a thing. It was just like, I guess she was stuck in a situation with kids and she just stood there. I really don't know, because from what she was telling me, it wasn't just me. It was a lot throughout 20 years, you know?
but you gotta remember something. Just because a person is Muslim, just for Islam, for example, because of the ability, I hate saying that word. Just keep it. I'll just keep it wherever it is. Because the ability or the right to have more than one wife doesn't make. We shouldn't assume that that man is pure. He could be 21 and he has the option to have more than one wife. Let's put that to the side for a second. Any man, regardless of whether he's subjecting himself to religion or not, has a right to have as many women as he wants. And a woman, even though it's not perceived traditional, can have as many men as she wants. Now, if this woman you say is from your home country or whatever, and she say, "Yo, bro, from the gate, I don't approve of you cheating or approve of you having more than one wife," can you clarify that?
You're asking me?
Yeah, did she say she didn't want him to cheat or have more than one wife?
All of it. She didn't agree with it from the beginning. She's like, you're Muslim, I understand, but we're dating 101. Listen, a Dominican woman, she gonna unalive you. Bitch, it's crazy. I'm Dominican. I'm just saying. But and she was such a sweet lady, so I felt so bad when I finished talking to her. She was such a nice lady. But listen, she didn't agree to any of that when she entered the relationship. Like,
Was she
no,
Muslim?
like religion, like another
Was
wife,
she
like
Muslim?
another girlfriend, nothing. Huh?
Was she Muslim?
No, she was Dominican. She was
Okay.
Catholic.
Okay, let me calm down. Let me respond. He knew this, right? And a man in his right mind. Let me let me do two both scenarios. A man in his right mind, when it comes to a woman that says, I'm not with that, no matter how pretty she is, no matter how nice her body is or whatever, a mature man says, you know what, baby, I appreciate that, but you're not the one for me.
Mhm.
Because that's your expectation. So for me being a Muslim, um, I'm entitled to have more than one wife. Because what if you can't cook? What if you don't know how to think? Right? What if you don't know how to control your feelings? I don't need that every day. I don't want to come home to that every day and night. So I want to have my options. So I'll make sure I take care of the finances, the bills, whoopie wop, and when you start tripping, I'm out. I'll come back when you calm, when you want to have a conversation, but I still need X, Y, and Z. So I have wifey number two, wifey number three, yada, yada, yada. Let's put that to the side. Even with men in general, without being a Muslim, without being this and the third, you know, he's entitled to have as many women as he wants. I don't think a sensible man should be dealing with a gang of women because it's going to affect his psyche for the most part. It's going to affect his emotional state. It might affect his financial. It's going to take all his time from him to be in having solitude for himself. But at the same time, people are here in this reality to do what? Let's get past all the illusions or expectations. The word cheating, which in itself is a non thing, in my opinion. It's just a word. It doesn't have no real meaning. It's a control tactic. But I think that people got to realize something. When you enter this reality, this dimension, this frequency, this polarity, the law is do as thou wilt. I can prove to you on so many levels that man has practiced the art of the do as thou wilt. This does not protect him from the law of correspondence, doesn't protect him from the law of karma. This goes for women and men. The
Mhm.
reality is, as long as we're under this illusion or this, I want to be protected in my feelings about, okay, there's a such a thing as true monogamousness. There's a such a thing as true marriage. If you come from loyalty, if you come from true transparency and togetherness, that's what you're going to, that's going to be your outcome. But I think, and I'm going to stop here, is that most relationships rob themselves of having true, authentic conversations from day one. They deny each other the ability to be true, to be honest, or to be open without being judged. And shit, as far as I'm concerned, you should be able to say how you feel and how you think and don't give a damn about who is judging you because that to me is a very religious personality to judge people. You got to see the world for what it is, which protects you from this energy theft called judging people. Period. And if men and women have this philosophy, they understand this together, there's nothing that they can't accomplish. And I know you talked about, yeah, but if a woman dates a dude or marries a man that she knows is Muslim, it sounds like she didn't do no study. She does not have to be a Muslim to study Islam. When she studies Islam, she's studying his thought patterns. She's studying what he has agreed to when he took his shahada. When he takes his shahada, la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, wa shahadu Muhammad wa Rasulullah barakatuh. This is what Muslims take the shahada to. And
But
if
then,
she don't,
but his second wife, right, that he married, she was Muslim like him, and she
sure,
went crazy on him and pretty much destroyed a lot financially for him. But she was Muslim like him. So
you got
she
to separate
knows
the
and
Muslim from the.
understands
Mhm.
Quran and everything, and she knows she went demon time on him to the point where they were both arrested. Like And it was like an ongoing thing from what I heard. It was like years
Sure.
of
Yep.
violence. So
Hmm.
then, how can you explain that? Because I know the first one, Dominican, maybe a little naive and don't really know. But the second one, they were both in the same religion, the same language, the same everything. She knew and still did not allow him to cheat, even though he thought, I guess, I don't know what he thought, but she went crazy on him. Like he had the most horrible couple of years of his life. Talking about having a whole record and everything, a man that wasn't into into being jailed and like it got really bad. So it's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
no.
it's a ayat. والعنصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالصبر. In Arabic, what this means is, verily, in time, man is lost. He's at a loss, except for those who are patient and they devote their attention to the true creative force. Let me explain this to you. You got to differentiate between the religion and the Muslim. Every Muslim is going to interpret that religion from their own intelligence. When you read even in the Quran, the creator, whatever, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to Muslims, read that um, I guide many, and by that same guidance, I misguide others. In other words, the gem in that is, if you're not clear on your relationship with that which you're a part of, which is the creative force, and you don't do your deep dive, like when you get married, simplify this. If you marry a Muslim woman, the Muslim man marry a Muslim woman, before they do all that, they should evaluate each other's level of intelligence regarding their religion. But they should also evaluate that person's ability to think for themselves, how they process. If we say that, okay, a woman gonna get triggered because, you know, she wanna be the only one that he's fucking, just keep it real, then that's her preference. But what she gotta understand is, because you say what you don't like don't mean that he's locked in on whatever it is you wanna do. That's where people gotta become adults here. Because, he has the opportunity to marry more than one wife. And if them women ain't on the same page and they don't talk, that's on him. I mean, because if a man's gonna be a man, he's gonna have a conversation with his wife and say, "Yo, hey, this is the program. This is what we doing." And you have a right to exit the relationship if you feel like it's taking you away from God. That's it. I know don't nobody want to hear that, but I mean, come on now. I mean, you can live in your own reality all you want to, all love, all love, no negative, nothing. But if you don't have the capacity to move into another person's world and see what's going on, and if it's easy for the Muslim woman or the non-Muslim woman who wants to marry a Muslim man, read the book that he's supposed to abide by. If you trying to change what that book told him he can and cannot do, good luck. But that dude, whoever the Muslim is, he seemed like he was not mature. He didn't reach manhood yet, because there's no man that should be scared to talk to his wife about what it is, and he shouldn't be afraid to allow her to express herself. If she pissed off, if she mad, yada yada yada, he must have a level of empathy to say, you know what, if I was in her situation, I might feel the same fucking way.
How
But to
about
hide,
measure the level of craziness of the woman you're marrying, because that will determine where your life is gonna end up. I don't know, because you're you're to me, this is what I thought. I thought a Muslim woman was quiet, just submissive. But after that, now I realize that they a bit more crazy than a Dominican. Like that lady surpassed my level of understanding of craziness. That lady went ham and didn't give a about nothing. I'm talking about. I mean, I probably a
hold
woman.
on, hold on. Hey, can you read Jasper's statement? This one right now. Can you read it?
For me, being in a full monogamous and loyal relationship, my brain can't imagine having another woman involved in any way.
She said another person.
Well,
You try to put it in there.
well.
But I would assume the same that you did. And she's right. Now, if you know scenarios where how a man reacts, he realizes somebody put you know, dick up in somebody that they've been with, how crazy he can get, right? I don't know what it is for a woman, but I think when a man is not emotionally competent, he's not emotionally mature, um, and he, wants to react off the impulse to go either beat somebody up in somebody's existence because of this, he's not mature enough and strong enough to realize that it's your girl that made that decision. That's the person you've been with. Now, all you got to do, I mean, I go back because I practiced Islam for like 25 years.
Wait, you
I'm going to tell
Muslim?
you, not anymore, but but I respect the religion. Put that on everything. I studied Arabic. I know how to read Arabic fluently. I'm competent in the Arabic. So when I studied as a Muslim, I was aware of what I was
Oh, you
doing.
should know
I wasn't
that
a,
what's happening in this thing, like dynamic, right? You're allowed by whatever Bible to have multiple
I
women,
don't agree with that. I don't
right?
agree with that.
So you're saying
I don't agree.
you're interpreting the Quran differently than what most people think? Because in one you said that good luck with you trying to change his mind in what the book says, right? But now you're saying that no, the book doesn't really say that. So is he following religion or is he just being a hoe? Like, which one is it? I don't know.
What? Wait a minute. You don't like to listen. I just said earlier that you got the religion and you got the one that's interpreting the religion.
Mhm.
And since I'm not in the business of judging anybody, everybody's at their own level of spiritual development. Okay. So if I'm the third person looking at that relationship, I'm not knocking nobody. I just understand what's happening. He's probably not mature. His religion, you have your spiritual potential when you join a religion, and you have your spiritual potential when you choose no religion. You choose spirituality at all. You have your potential to rise above reacting to things, this, that, and the third. There is a way to engage. A mature woman is going to engage in her life different than a woman that's not mature. That's separate than the relationship. Like I practice Islam, and I've been to many mosques that I feel like they're not getting it, and I don't want to be part of that mosque community. I'll go to another mosque, so I'm like, they totally get it. This is what I'm going to spend my Friday night for Jummah, Iftikaf. This is what I'm going to spend the whole month of Jummah for Ramadan, is at this mosque because they get it, right? But uh, you have to compare people to the actual Quran. And there's nothing wrong with this young man, this example you use to be where he is. I feel sorry for him because as a mature man, I wouldn't deal with none of that. Either you roll with this process or you don't. I love you, but it's either here nor there. You do what you do, and then we move on. She get to keep her dowry that she got, keep her ring, her diamonds. If you got her some property, if you got her this, got her that, she can keep all that. But at the same time, if it's an emotional issue, um, that's something she got to deal with. I'm not willing to deal with a woman that's emotionally unstable because of this particular trigger. And a woman who is mature should not have to deal with me if I have emotional issues with her being who she want to be. If she want to have multiple dudes in her life or friends or whatever, I'm not going to investigate that. That's her life. And if it was my wife, and a lot of men, have suffered from this, discover that the wife is got another dude on the side, she got a work hubby, this, that, and the third. That can make you mad as fuck though. But listen to me though, you dealt with her to the point where you wasn't getting cues. So what do you do? Do you react and risk what you built, or do you get it together and move on, lesson learned?
Well, you know, I have a lot to say in regards to, relationship and things like that. And like I said, I grew up Catholic, went through all my sacraments. My kids went through all their sacraments too. Right now, I say that I don't follow any religion. Even though I do read the Bible, which I guess the Bible is a part of a religion because there's a Quran and there's different type of Bibles nowadays. And I was saying this in one of my videos that it's coming to the point where when I read a message from the Bible, I don't even want to say this is the message from the Bible because I need the person to listen to the concept, to what it's saying, not where the information is coming from. So
Right.
I can't say I have a religion, but me reading from the Bible kind of contradicts it because you're getting messages from there. But it's like
Hmm.
the concept of what I'm telling you, the lessons that don't lie or whatever. Just because I got it from the Bible does not mean that is part of a religion. You should know as a human being that lying is not a good thing. So the whole, religion thing for me is crazy. But from my understanding, if you're Muslim or whatever religion and having multiple people in the relationship, to this day I have to tell you, I don't understand if it's what's wrong. If what's wrong is what you're saying, being with a woman and not telling her that you have multiple ones so that she can make the decision to deal with you or not. It's just the lying and betraying her when she doesn't agree with that, if that's the problem, or if the problem is just having multiple women's at all, because I have only experienced the I don't agree with that, you're doing it, and to me it's a betrayal. I haven't been in a relationship where a man has multiple women and I'm actually agreeing to it and seeing what the outcome of that is. So I can't talk from that perspective, but having multiple women and betraying someone and lying to them, it causes, you can call it karma, judgment, you can call it whatever you want, but there's consequences to those things because I'm pretty sure it's not that I'm just that special and all these men's life turn upside down because of me. There must be something behind that with any human being that this is happening to me for me to notice the pattern. But what is it that is wrong? Is it the lying, the not giving them the option to choose? Or is it just having multiple people? Because what happens if a man is with me and I'm agreeing to be the sixth girl or the sixth wife, Is that okay? Is a man not gonna experience, karma or anything like that when that happens? I haven't been on that side, so I don't know, I can't say.
You're not gonna like what I'm about to tell you.
I don't know. Just go ahead. I mean, I'm talking about my experience. I don't know what's
Right,
going on.
right.
I'm still waiting
How
for
many
answers.
how many women have been in a situation where they had a relationship with multiple men at the same time and she don't know who the baby daddy is?
A lot.
Let me finish. How many women are still having sex with their baby daddy while they either married or still in a relationship? Pause. Just let me finish. Here's a downside to that. When we hear the word cheating or deception,
Hmm.
this heavy, dense, low frequency reality called the physical reality. We always think first that it's the man beside the word.
Mhm.
Where the reality is, people got to get out of that lost, um, naive mentality and understand that it is a behavior thing. It's not gender based because lots of women, at the beginning of, discovering they're pregnant, have to come to the conclusion and sober up mentally and say, hey, is it the dude I'm married to, or is it another dude, or is it my new baby, this new? Because women have relationships more than one men, just like dudes have more than one relationship. We can just put religion to the side. We can't. We have to decide: do we not like religions that so-called permit men to have multiple relationships, or do we not like the fact that people prefer more than one relationship? Let's be cognitively responsible here. If a man discovers that his love to be has multiple men in the background, he's probably going to want to shift his attention and adoration from her back to himself because she's probably not worth the investment. The same thing is true when if a woman feels some type of way about a man having more than one woman. I've said it again that there are countless women who have husbands they with, men they've been with that are not the children's father that the men thought they were. So she had multiple relationships going on in the background. The only difference is he didn't know about it, which he should have, but he didn't know about it. We're dealing with people or beings that are doing as they wilt. It's in your Bible. Do as thou wilt. The response cost is equal for both men and women. So when a woman have a man that is delusional about love, he's delusional about being that he's delusional and believes that she's being faithful to him, realizes that somebody else been stretching her out and ejaculating and impregnating her, and he's not. He can have the equal level of insanity. These are beings that are behaving by the whole law of do as thou wilt. It's not about marriage. It's not about religion. It's about beings doing exactly what the God of this world has given them permission to do. A
But
choice.
is there a punishment or a karma or repercussion for that behavior? Is what I want to know. Because you're saying it's a behavior, man or woman, correct? But is there a punishment for that behavior? What is wrong? Is it wrong not telling the person? Or is it wrong in general just to have multiple men? Because how about if they
It's
all
wrong.
agree?
It's wrong to be naive. That's the only thing there. It's wrong to be naive that is the potential of everybody. If that's the only wrong thing, because again, let's get our minds out of manipulation and about whatever. In this reality, everybody is doing what they want to do. I don't care whether they're hiding from each other or not. They're doing what they want to do,
But is there a
right?
punishment for that? Can you just do whatever you want without
You
any
can.
punishment? That's what I'm saying.
No, because this is my opinion, and I should have said no right away. I'm going to explain this first. People start deceiving and cheating first as an idea.
Mhm.
When you start this concept in your mind to cheat or deceive somebody, you can already see the outcome. So when you say, if they find out, they're gonna feel like this. They're gonna say this. So you already know in your mind that when you practice to deceive or to engage in something from that perspective, you've already saw the outcome. That's where the karma comes in. It's spiritual. So, karma is not bound by time. We live, lifetime after lifetime. Unfortunately, some of us do. I don't want to be in no type of physical reality anymore. I think it's a piece of shit. Um, I think to be able to perceive the reality that you want and reside in openness and infiniteness, that's my goal. But if we're just speaking from the perspective of where we are right now, if you don't want to live in this reality, it's too late. You're already here. I think the heaven that most people experience is based upon their own assumptions. That's your heaven. And then when you realize that it's multiple versions of that heaven here in the physical reality, then we get mad. Then we get upset. You know why? Because nobody's having real conversations with each other. Nobody's diving
So
deep
what
in
are you
their
saying?
own.
What are you saying? Is there a punishment for certain behavior or isn't there? Because you're saying spiritually there's karma, but then you're saying that people can do whatever they want. Yes, there's free will. God lets you do whatever you want. But it doesn't mean that if you go and unalive someone that you're not gonna get punished for that. Maybe the physical world, the law doesn't catch you, but you're definitely gonna pay for that. And I mean, in my perspective, it doesn't go just you in the physical. I'm talking about your generation, baby. I'm not talking about you only. I'm like, you messed up really big, and some people are gonna have to go through something because you're a dumbass. But
No, that's why I said
that's
that.
just my
That
belief.
that's why no, that's why I said karma is not bound to time. We perceive things. Well, they might happen while I'm living. Well, you're immortal. You're not gonna die from that perspective. You just move on to your next desired illusion.
Hmm.
So time is not attached. Time has no authority over the law of correspondence. It's not bound to it. So you're right. Like I said, it's an illusion. We all reap what we sow. Everything that you sow is you. You created. That's what makes you a co-creator, right? I mean, of course, we started this conversation out with something as flimsy as Valentine's Day and unconditional love versus conditional love. And at the end of, I promise, I advocate for conditional love. If it's such a thing as love, I mean, I have my own understanding about what this term means, but I've always vouched for conditional relationships. Nothing, if like I say, if you want to be somebody's friend and you accept them for who they are, where they are, yada, 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 that's possible. But that's going to be a struggle in an actual romantic. See, romance changes things. You're from the gut with romance relationships, right? That's what makes these things a gut sinker, right? Your emotions are fully engulfed in these fantasy relationships as opposed to being real. Nothing that we talked about tonight is left without meaning to this whole um, live. If people take the time out to self evaluate and to think truly about where they are, and listen to themselves, it's a whole lot of shocking darkness in each of us. Stop being naive and thinking that the next person doesn't experience their own darkness. You could choose to want to see the external person all you want to, but in each of us, there is a level of darkness
Hmm.
that comes out or may not come out. And we can choose to make others part of that, or we can choose to suppress it. But they no make no mistake about it. Everybody has the potential to do very dark behavior, starting from the intention or somebody else manipulating them and engaging them and triggering that darkness, or deny all that and become disciplined and order their own moment, hour, day, decade, century, according to what they understand about themselves.
You know what I think? I think we're gonna have to. I mean, I really love it because this was like I go all in. From a man perspective, I think it's great because we don't think alike. We think very differently. I think we should definitely do another live and we should definitely discuss because my whole thing here is, do you get punished for your behavior? Do you get karma? So, but if you do, then is it really a free will? I could do whatever I want? Because if you're getting punishment or karma or whatever you want to call it for a certain behavior, then is it really free will? Right? God said, do whatever you want. He's giving you the choice to do good or bad. You can do all the bad you want, but then there are consequences to the things you do. So
Yeah, it is.
is it really free will? Is it really do what you want?
It is.
It is. I
I
don't
mean, I
know.
get where you're going.
You
I
wouldn't
get
be
where you're
scared?
going.
Because I'll be like, I don't want to cheat because I don't want that karma. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want my kids going through stuff like
It
that.
depends on the level of passion you have towards whatever you're trying to do. You can know already that if you don't study for your exam, or if you don't go to bed on time, if you don't learn your job, there's consequences. You can get fired. You can get put on administrative leave. You can get suspended. You can get demoted. But maybe you have a passion for something that you just can't stop doing. Maybe you have an addiction of something you can't stop doing. Maybe the world of suggestion is just that strong where you cannot walk away from things that you know intuitively that's going to hurt you. So yes, we live in the world of do as I will. And we know at a certain point, if you're not disequilibrium or dysfunctional mentally, where you can't put two and two together, cause and effect, people can be labeled as severely sociopathic when they do stuff. And they don't think about the outcome. When the outcome comes to them, they can only comprehend it as an isolated event.
Mm,
They can't make the connection.
mm.
These are some very people that I'm not going to say that on YouTube. But
No, I actually know. I actually know someone who was constantly, things were happening to him. And I kept telling him, what are you doing that these things are happening to you? And he was like, nothing. It has nothing to do with you. Why? You think you're so special. You think that every time I'm doing something wrong to you, something is happening to me. But then it happens so often. It happens so often that,
I agree.
listen,
I agree.
it happens so often that he couldn't deny the connection that every time he was doing something to me, something happened. For example, he would, not too long ago too, in New York. So he called on the phone, right? When I don't answer the phone, like if we're not together, why are you calling me like that? But he will constantly call and I didn't answer. And when I did answer, you effing HOE, da 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 da, why you not answering? You probably with some nigga. After I hung up, he crashed. But that's not the first time. It has happened a couple of times. So he runs like an hour later to he runs in the house, you effing witch. And I'm just sitting there like, what are you talking about? What did I do? But it happens so often that every time he will call me and curse me out, he will crash if he was driving. So it came to the point where he was just putting two and two together. He's like, every time I do something to this woman, something happens to me. You can deny it all you want, but I think God sometimes makes it his thing to make you see. Like you could be stupid all you want. You could spend years being stupid, but let me show you the and I don't even know if I should even be saying that, but it comes to the point where I feel bad because I'm like, I understand he's being mean and calling me all these things, which is emotional abuse. But do you really have to have him crash and stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it my fault? Like I don't know. Like, what do you do in that situation? Am I blaming me for what's happening to you, or is that just God? Something between you and God to stop being an a-hole, or what is it? Is it spiritual? Like, what's going on? Because there's a lot of things in my life that it's good that we do these debates or whatever, because there's a lot of things in my life that I don't understand, and unless a person is near me and knows me and sees all these things that I talk about, it's hard for a person to believe like all the craziness that goes on. It's even harder for me to understand as a human how is this even possible? How does this even happen? And it happens in a way where you can't deny it, you know? And other people are even noticing it. So, you know, it gets a little weird. I think when you mean well, things happen in a way that cannot be acclaimed. I watch it in real time too. Anyone can blame it something, but all I can.
All right, I don't know if you read this book before.
What book is that?
I'm about to tell you, but I know you have an audience, so I'm not going to stay on too much longer. But I think you already resonate with the concept of response cost or karma. But I was already into trying to, see myself from both sides in terms of where I want to be and where I've been, and then in the middle means, hey, what am I consciously willing to do to make the improvements in my life?
Mm-hmm.
So this book right here, I think this is a good book for look at. It's called Mind is the Master. It talks a whole lot about, the deeper you go into self accountability, the
Mm-hmm.
good, bad, and the ugly. Because, you know, most people stop on the surface level when it comes to, oh, why this is happening to me. It's somebody else's fault. Most people project. They
Mm-hmm.
blame everything outside of them before they say, you know what part did I play in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who go through stuff and they didn't have the forethought, spiritual strength, armor to prevent things from happening to them, they too even blame themselves. They too even have guilt and shame that doesn't belong to them, right? And so these are the mountains that the scriptures are talking about, how to bring those mountains down. But this writer who wrote As a Man Thinketh is brilliant because he's taking you through a really good intro from poverty to power, the lesson of evil. He does a really good job of art walking you through, hey, let me filter through how I have affected my journey so far from how the world is affecting the life of the collective. So here's your book. I
It's
recommend
called
this for
Mind.
everybody.
Mind is the master.
Yes. Amazon has got
So
them
in what
pretty
I
good
just
price, but they're
so in
well
what I
worth the
just
read.
told you, in what I just told you, what does that book talk about? Because I don't know. So I'm looking for a human explanation to the things that happen. And there will be one if he does the same things he was doing to me to other people and nothing happens to him. But why when he does it to me it happens and I have no explanation. It's nothing that I'm doing. It's because when those things happens, I seriously don't care. I just hang up or whatever it is. I'm just like, this is why it's not working out. What is the human explanation? Is there one? Is it you're saying it's
Listen,
the mind? The mind is doing all of this in
let
some
me
weird
let me
way?
just explain this real quick. Real quick. Okay, everybody is usually getting in relationships, marrying, making love, or fucking spiritually dead people.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this again. If you get into relationships with spiritually dead people, they know not what they do. In other words, everything we do has a response cost. Yes, there's such a thing as immediate or unrecognizable karma. A lot of folks live out their life and they live reckless because they don't understand the response of um, cause and effect. They do not. So if you're dealing with somebody that's spiritually unawakened, spiritually dead, you have to ask yourself, what the hell's wrong with you? If you can't perceive at the beginning of a connection whether a person is conscious, Are they aware of themselves? Right? Are they aware that they're not a solid thing? Your solid perception is a residual, right, of where you are and where you what you are. It's not who you are, it's what you are. If people are not at that level, you can't really be invested in, you know, cause and effect and being accountable for your intentions, your actions, unless you're consciously aware,
Thank you, Sarah.
right? So,
You're
it's
saying you're saying the cause and effect, but do you understand, in my point of view, how there's a lot of things in my life, especially things like that, because that's not the only thing. I'm just saying in general, things that are happening that I have no explanation for. But you're saying that because maybe because he's spiritually dead, he's doing all these things, and God is just finally fed up with him, and it's giving him instant, punishment for whatever it is he's doing. Is all cool, but then why is it attached to me? You know what I mean? Like if he was doing it
I
to
didn't say that.
students across the street, it's fine with
No,
me. But I'm like, why am
I
I
did not
involved?
say that. I ain't say what you said. What I'm trying to say
I'm
is,
just saying, like I'm trying to understand. Like, do you understand that?
right,
I'm just trying to understand what's as a
I get it.
human, what's going
Right.
on.
But what I'm trying to, say to an effect with what you're saying is awareness allows you to pick a partner that's on the same level as you. Lack of awareness does not allow you to pick a partner that's on the same level as you. If you really understand how hard it was to get to where you are spiritually, you're not going to be willing to invite others on their frequency that have not worked for it. So, it's real easy to say this, this, that, and the third, but when you do your work and you know that work is ongoing, there is no end to this work. When you figure something out, that what you figured out is going to be with you forever. And then congratulations, because not everybody is there. But you got to understand something. When Christ rose from the grave, we look at this symbolically, and this happens every freaking. I don't know about Arizona, but here in the Midwest, we get snow. It gets real cold. It gets to be negative numbers. Everything freezes. In that season, you don't do nothing. Maybe you plant your seeds in the fall, but you don't do no planting in the wintertime because those seeds will not have enough time to burrow into the ground. They will die. They will wither. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, in everybody's life that you enter, you must assess and evaluate their level of self-awareness. It's a
You're
statement
like,
of
you want me to analyze? I'm scared to enter anybody's life because I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna be a good thing for you or not. I stay away from you because I come with some weird things and I don't think you want it. Because it could go both ways. You could either go through, you're thrown. Listen, you meet me and you're like thrown into extreme karma, or the other thing is you awaken and you start elevating. Because I can't say it's all bad. You either awaken and you start elevating, and I seen it, and it's amazing. It makes me feel good, but I'm self-aware of certain things that maybe I don't comprehend really well. But when I meet someone, even at a friendship level, I don't talk with anyone on the phone. Let me just tell you that, because it's just like I come, I talk to you, I start discovering things about you, I start feeling things. You go either left or right, and I'm a little spooked about it. So I just try to like stay away. YouTube, the messaging on Instagram is pretty cool, but I don't try to continue like the connection, because at this point I don't really know what's going on, and I'm just like, let me back away, because you're not at the mental capacity. I just said a person is right now depressed. And I'm like, this could either go left or right real quick. Like, are you gonna unalive yourself or are you gonna heal yourself? with me, there is no middle ground. And then when I step in, is I'm scared to see the outcome. So I don't even want to engage right now with nobody. So when you're saying you need to know the I don't want to, like I want to help you a little bit, but I step back because I know, I know what I bring, but people who are not spiritually woke don't really know, and they just see it as, let me just talk to her and she's gonna help me. But with me, it's a little deeper than that. People don't see that, but I do. So I'm a little spooked to even, you know, do you understand me? I don't know. I'm spooked to even have to get close to anyone at all. Like I'll help you, but I'll step back.
Yeah, I get it. What I'm trying to say too also is everything is a flow. I like talking to people. I like communicating. I like engaging, but I'm selectively social. And when I say that you evaluate people, we whether you may not be aware of this. We evaluate people every time we go into a different energy. Go to
Mm-hmm.
the mall, you go to the grocery store, you go to fast food places, when you go to work. This is how our frequencies work. It's running calculations. It's running reading. We cannot help do that. You have to be really, really dense in this reality not to realize that we're always running fact checks from an emotional level on everything around us. This is why it's always, to me, it's always good to have least amount of distractions. When I go into the main office at my job, I like to be by myself. I'll go down in the lower levels where there's nobody there, open up my laptop and work budgets. I do graph configurations and all this because I like to control the frequency around me. But naturally, when you go into a room, you're already reading the room. But if you choose to sit down with somebody one on one, this happens naturally. It's a spiritual thing. So it's like when you read, you're getting answers. You're already calculating. This is not a critical, overthinking person. No, if you don't know by now that that's what your spirit does, that's what your soul does, so that you can be competent and aware of what's going on around you, people that don't get that need to do more self work. We
You're
have the
saying spiritually, that's what's going on, right? But in the physical, Carolina not trying to analyze nothing. I'm not even trying to engage. And I'm just thrown in. I feel like I'm being thrown into stuff that I don't even want to engage with. I'm not trying to read nothing. I don't go in a room trying to read nobody. I don't even want to be in the damn room. So I understand what you're saying. But there is definitely something going on spiritually that obviously I'm in the physical catching up to it, but I don't know if I agree with everything that's going on in my energy because it's not me in the physical level, Carolina doing nothing. I'm not trying to do nothing. I'm not trying to read nothing. I'm not trying. This is why, as you can see, well, you guys always see me doing live here. I don't really go out anywhere. I'm always home in my backyard with my birds. Walking in the park is okay, but any place where there's more than 5 people, I cannot just, I can't do it for some reason. I don't know if I'm becoming
see,
very sensitive or what's going on, but there's definitely something going on that I don't comprehend. And I don't know if I want
yeah,
to be a part of it. And I don't even know if I can
I
stop
get
it at
it.
this point.
Yeah, I have a friend. Well, I'm not saying this because of where you're from, but I have a friend. Her last name is Garcia. She already transitioned, but she was very intuitive in some areas. So we had some very deep conversations about her level of intuitiveness, and I won't get into all that. But anyway, this is why I said earlier about people that they live passively. They are the ones that say, "Oh, I believe in unconditional love." Yeah, how dare you say, "Well, you're not really loving nobody until you learn how to love them unconditionally." But to love somebody unconditionally can come with conditions. See, if you own some other stuff, I love you, but I'm gonna love you from a distance, right? So I think people who say they believe in unconditional love are full of shit.
Uh,
Um, I think that they are the ones that suffer the most because they believe in denial, overseeing things for what they are. They don't know how to set boundaries. When you live in a reality where boundaries are all around you in nature, you can't plant certain seeds in certain areas. You shouldn't be planting anything during certain seasons. There's certain things that are built for you to heal your body, and there are certain things that you should not be using. When do people come to the honest, ethical reality that you live in a world of conditions?
you come back with you're coming back with the conditions. Well, the condition here is that if I meet someone like me, I will probably stay away because I don't know. I do not want to engage. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. You keep talking about conditions and conditions. I don't know. I think it gets interesting. It really does. But
Of course.
I love this conversation. I think we should definitely do this more often, Rax. Oh my god. I mean, I think I talk a little bit too much, but I think the things that I've experienced and I'm experiencing, it's important to talk about it because I'm sure there's a lot of women and men who, they can see clearly. For some reason, they're spiritually awoke now, and there's all these situations happening to them. And I'm pretty sure they're home. They don't have social media. They don't have a YouTube. They're not out telling the world, listen, this is what happened to me because they're afraid of how people may see them. So I think it's important for me, you to share our story, to share the craziness that goes on, because it might help so many people that, are not out here sharing the things that are going on. If anybody came to me telling me all these weird things that I'm saying,
I'll
you
keep
know,
shining 11. Shout out gave a really good shout out. So, with that being said, keep shining. Do you mind to kind of be the role model and say, hey, if you like the content, are there parts of the content that you want to go deeper in? And that would, put me in a position where, and of course, your host, to do some studying, do some collaboration, and then bring the data to you guys via live as source information. What do you think?
I think listen, you, like I said, you need to do lives. And I see you posting
No, I
videos and
don't do it
stuff like
very
that.
often. I don't do it very often at all. I do not. This
But
is the first one I've done. What I've done with what a partner of mine who's in Africa, but he does different things that, that's all in Africa, but it's not related to America. But anyway.
But you should. I think this is great. Like I said, I'm doing actually we went past the time, but I'm doing a podcast with Catalina, but she's a woman like me, and it's not the same thing because we need to hear my side and we need to see a man's side. How do men think? Because obviously it's very different, very different. And to hear both sides, I think it's really nice for the audience. I'm not, it's not just me here talking, but they're hearing from a woman and a man perspective all these different topics that we can possibly talk about. I mean, I don't know, I enjoyed it, and it's been God knows how many hours, but it's
Hmm.
like we can sit here all night and just talk about different things because it flows naturally, I think, for the both of us. And I think
Yeah,
Keep
I would love
Shining
to
is
see
definitely
engagement.
enjoying it.
I would love to see more engagement with your audience. I know that the greatest hope is to have an open-minded audience. I know that's not always the case, but the ones that have really open minds, they really inspire. That's what I built my channel for. There's a lot of things I'm doing in the background that's related to this channel. The channel is just a residual or the aftermath of what I'm visualizing and working on. I've been working on for the past couple of years. But that's going to be manifesting um, in its own time. But I'm certainly full force in that. But yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to collaborate on some very hit home topics for um, your audience. Of course, mine is its own audience. Um, Enter my channel at your own will. But I think that relationships, um, spiritual work that's practical, nothing crazy, just how to be in solitude.
Mm-hmm.
What what is the benefit of somebody who intuitively likes to be in solitude? How does that work out for them when they enter out into their regular daily life? I mean, I think from a personal perspective, it's amazing to, like to be in solitude, do the introspective. It makes for very deep empathy for other people. It gives you so much space to allow others to make their mistakes and then do their own work. Just amazing stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, I really think so. I think it can help a lot of people, these topics, like I said, from a female and a male perspective. So if you're up to
hmm
it, Rax, I would love to continue doing this. Different topics, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter to me, but I think it will be really, really helpful. And I don't know, since you're saying you're shy, you didn't seem shy in the live. You were just, you were just talking. So I don't know.
yeah,
I hope that you go live also in your channel. You did it, right? It's not that bad. You just stand there and talk. But, if you need motivation and want me to join, just let me know. But I will definitely love to keep doing this.
yeah,
That topic about consequences and the things we do. I think that's a good one. We can go back and forth for hours with this one. This was definitely great. A great Valentine's live, I will say. And keep shining is definitely keep shining. What time is it in your country? Keep shining is in the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Like what time? What time is it there? Because I know Jasper. I might be a Chinese star, but there's plenty of stars in space, and sure, great minds like you both will gather a beautiful audience and community. Stuff like this does allow others to open up and learn and rewire their brain. It's a crazy organ. It's
It's
3:32
true. Facts.
a.m. Oh my God! Thank you, Keep Shining, for being here with us. It's like almost
Yeah,
four
shout
in
out
the
to Keep
morning.
Shining.
Four
Yeah.
in the morning for you, and you stood up just for us. I feel special this Valentine's. Jasper now. No, Jasper. I'm just saying that you're in the US. Keep Shining is in the UK. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything. It's been beautiful. Yeah, I really love this. Anyways, Rax, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's
Thank you
keep
for
doing
having me.
this. Yeah, let's keep doing this. I really enjoy this. I think, and Keep Shining loves it. He's like, yeah, let's go for it. I think this is great. I think we should definitely keep joining it. Guys, happy Valentine's Day. It is 8:33 right now. I was supposed to go out to eat with my daughter, and the restaurant is about to close in 30 minutes. So I have her ordering over the phone so we can eat at home because, my daughter came in and she's like, you said 30 minutes. I said 30 minutes, but it so happened that, things happen. So, you don't know why things happen, but it happened. Yeah, it's 10:33 for me. Happy Valentine's
Yeah.
Day. Your fiance is at work. Oh, well, you can always do Valentine's next time, I guess. Anyways, Rags, goodbye. I'm gonna go eat now, guys. Hopefully, we find some food.
Enjoy.
Yeah, happy Valentine's. Thank you for joining me.